Hello, and welcome to a special edition of We Got Issues, the only comic book podcast that maintains that the 90s fill in Thor, Thunderstrike, deserves a comeback and is actually shocked that Marvel has kept him dead since the 90s. Hi, I'm Brian Compton, aka BComp, and joining me as always is the crypto to my ace the Bat Hound, Josh Markwood. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. I like the two dogs.
Yeah, DC
What was
Dogs.
it? DC dogs, and
Yeah,
wasn't there a cartoon? It was like the
Super
pets,
Pets. Yeah, Super
and
Pets.
there's a cartoon movie too
Yes,
with
it
like
was.
The
The
Rock
Rock,
and
yeah, and stuff
Kevin
like that.
Hart
Yeah.
and
Hey,
stuff. So that's that out of the way.
yeah, that works. That
Yeah.
works.
But then we have to talk about this '90s Thunderstrike Thor because I'm surprised they haven't had even a mention or even MCU. You'd think like that's something like Taika Waititi would like, okay,
Yeah.
so definitely James Gunn would have,
Mhm.
if he was doing Thor, he would have brought him out
Well, I
for
mean,
sure.
you kinda see Easter eggs like Beta Ray Bill in the background and
Yeah.
all that. It's just like Thunderstrike actually is like if you actually go back and read those comics, they're kind of fun because he's not the best Thor. He, like,
Mm-mm.
loses a lot. Like, he gets run over by, like, Juggernaut, like, just run over, and, like, he's also, like, a single dad trying to, like, raise his kid, and well, it's kind of it only went, like, 24 issues, and they end with him dying, but it's like it's kind of a fun book, I thoroughly recommend it if you haven't had a chance to read it. It's worth the read. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it's not fun by the end, but
No, no.
as a book though, like it's
I
and it
was
is shock. I was gonna say it is shocking that Marvel has not brought him back. He has stayed dead.
yeah.
I mean, he showed up in like little like ghost appearances or whatever, but not like, oh, he's been resurrected, you know?
Who would have thought like he would be somebody that like stayed dead like an Uncle Ben when you have Bucky coming
Oh,
back and everything.
seriously. Bucky,
And
Jor-El,
that is
Thomas
like
Wayne.
his mace who looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. He
Uh
had a cool costume. It was totally
yeah,
90s. He
of
had the
100%
earrings and a
90s.
ponytail, he had like those like a leather sleeveless jacket with pins on it. Like, it's
Yeah,
cool.
he was just missing pouches and a gun.
I'm
Um,
glad I'm glad they never did that. He had the ponytail, that was enough.
I kinda wish they did. No, but
Yeah.
I do remember, like, his son was, like, the leader of the Avengers in A Next, like,
Yeah, in,
Earth, like,
MC in the MC2 with Spider-Girl
MC2,
and
yeah, and, like,
J2.
J2 and all that stuff. I remember that too, like, a lot.
Wild Thing, I think was Wolverine's daughter or something like that.
Yeah.
I
Or
think
was
I
it,
could be wrong though.
who
Well,
was
she was like their
Daredevil's
version of
son?
Wolverine or something like that. Well,
Yeah,
there was like
yeah.
yeah, there was it was great. MC2 was a lot of fun. We should do a
Mainframe or
maybe.
something?
We should do a whole
Something?
thing on the MC2. That was a
I think it'd be
really
fun,
fun
yeah.
yeah, because Spider-Girl, like, that book went, like, 100 issues, and then they did, like,
Mhm.
another follow-up, like, they did, like, The Amazing Spider-Girl, like, it went on, like, Mayday Parker is legitimately great, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that'd be a fun.
I'm not gonna do all
They've
100 issues,
she's
but
kind of been different like Maydays have come around too, or little
yeah,
Mays.
yeah,
But yeah, like what Freebooter and
yeah,
Mainframe. I was right. It was like the like the Iron
yeah,
Man.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Well, there's the Fantastic 5, there was
yeah,
well, anyway, speaking
Mm.
of female superheroes, what are we
insane.
talking about
Yeah,
today, Josh?
yeah. So like you said earlier, this is a special edition because we're not talking about a specific book. We're actually talking about a specific movie that just came out last week, and only we got issues fashion. We are on top of the pulse,
Oh, yeah.
and we waited a full week so people had enough time to actually watch it and form their own opinions. But we want to talk about Supergirl. That
Yes.
was just in theater. That is just in theaters
It's
now,
still in theaters,
and
yeah.
yeah, and we want to kind of discuss what we thought about it, kind of the highlights and breakdowns of some characters in there, and then also just uh, kind of what we think you should probably read if you like the
Yeah,
movie, or
or
even
if you didn't like the movie.
and just a little background of Supergirl, so you kind of
Yeah,
understand her crazy ass history.
yeah, it's
Per
fun.
any like DC character that started before the crisis.
Yeah.
Which again, just before we get into the whole history and everything, a little just back up and just like you're gonna hear stuff like post crisis and pre crisis and
New 52,
52 and things like that.
Rebirth.
That's just how us comic fans and even just the industry just have explain the timeline of DC. Like, you know how we talked about Marvel's like sliding timeline? DC has
Yeah.
like their
The
event
reset
timeline.
continuities.
Yeah, the reset timeline. So
Yeah.
just if if you're hearing stuff like pre-crisis, post-crisis, just definitely
Well, we'll
it's
explain
worth
it as we go
researching.
through it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. But also if you want to like learn more about it and stuff, we definitely will be hitting some of those books like down the line, and then
Mhm.
also
Oh,
just,
yeah.
maybe look it up too, because it's a lot of the stuff is very interesting.
Yep. Oh, Crisis by itself is, like, gonna be a four-part series. That thing is dense, and I think we did
The
say that
monster,
before.
like 4 different stories in one book,
Oh, yeah.
the
Well
year-long book.
well, before we can get into all that, we do have a little business to take care of. That's right, it's sponsor time, and today's episode is brought to you
Sponsor
by,
time.
well, none other than Duff and Shaw Snacks. Now, whether it's their limited edition gummy army guys or their 2-foot long gummy anaconda, Duff and Shaw Snacks and candy are curated from the most mysterious and undiscovered places on planet Earth. Head on over to duffandshaw.com/issues today and check out all they've got and more. That's duffandshaw.com/issues for the most legendary snacks in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they're starting to do coffee as well
Oh, are
or
they?
something. They've been teasing
Ooh.
some stuff on Instagram and stuff, so check out their Instagram too
Mm. For all
some
the
stuff
latest
that
updates.
they got a lot of stuff, brewing. Get
Brewing? Oh,
it?
I got it. I knew it. I was like, if you didn't
I
hit that, I was gonna be very upset with you.
and hopefully I'm right. Hopefully they don't, like,
If not,
message
I
us
would
as
have
like, "Dude, we're not
I
doing coffee at all. What are you guys talking about?"
if you wouldn't, I would have roasted you.
Oh, no. Oh, man, that was pun
Yeah.
believable.
Yeah, see how I brewed that up?
Oh, goodness. And
Okay,
we're
okay,
done.
okay,
And we're done. Alright, so now we're
okay.
obviously, like we said, we're talking about Supergirl movie, and we're gonna have spoilers, but we're gonna try to keep it spoiler free for the most of the stuff
For
up front.
now.
Yeah, up front, but, like, we'll let you know when we talk about spoilers. We're not just gonna say, talk about how everything happens without giving you a heads up to pause, go watch the movie, and come back. But like this
Mhm.
first half, we're really just going to be talking about Supergirl, the character, and then a
Yeah.
little bit more about the behind the scenes movie stuff. So, speaking of that, though, Ryan, Supergirl was directed by Craig Gillespie.
Gillespie.
And, yeah, what else has he like directed?
He, directed, like, I, Tonya, Cruella, Lars and the Real Girl, stuff like that. The screenwriter is, Anna Nogueira. I'm probably butchering that. This is the first time I have not done my research, so I apologize. She's a first-time screenwriter, though, who was a playwright and an actress before this. The film opened, like you said, just this last week,
Mhm.
slightly under expectations for the second film in the new DC movie universe, and the reviews have been a bit of a mix from both the fans and the critics. Now, we'll get into our initial reactions in just a moment, but let's tackle the blurb on the back, or in this case, it'd be the blurb on the back of a DVD box. Josh, do you mind?
What's a DVD?
Oh, fuck off.
Wait, I mean, is it that thing that they stream from now, or like?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the description you would find
I
on
was
the
about to, yeah.
HBO Max app,
What's the
you know?
what's the info button bar?
Yeah,
Um,
oh, my kid calls HBO Max Hobo Max, by the way. I love it. He's,
that's
"Can we
perfect.
watch Hobo Max?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, we can."
Hobo to the max. Uh, have a super huge can of soup. I don't know why I think that with old school hobos, but yeah.
It's 'cause they have the little
Um,
bindle and the hanker okay.
right. All
Yeah.
right, so here's the blurb on the back. When an unexpected and ruthless adversary strikes too close to home, Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, reluctantly joins forces with an unlikely companion on an epic interstellar journey of vengeance and justice.
Bravo.
Boom,
Bravo.
boom. Thank
Brava,
you.
perhaps. Uh, well, what without being spoilery, what
Right.
did you think of the movie? Just in general terms.
Yeah, and just in general, I thought it was all right. I don't think like wasn't super in love with it, but I also wasn't super hating it. I
Yeah.
mean, I would like definitely not the whole discourse that's online right now about it, but
Yeah.
which again, I we'll talk about how the fans are, but it for me, it's like it's kind of just middle of the road for me. Like it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It's a what's this, a sophomore movie in this, so it wasn't. I wasn't blown away. Let's just say, but I
Ye
also wasn't like, oh my god, why did I spend my money on that? Like it,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
What'd you think?
Yeah, go
No, what'd you think?
Oh, I mean, like, kind of like almost the exact same boat. Like, I was like, watching, I was like, it was fine. Like, it not like you just said, like, there was definitely some creative choices. I'm like, I would not have done that. I would not have done that. I would not have done that. But at no point was like I offended by anything. I was like, okay, like I wouldn't have done that, but that was fine. My kid, honestly, here's the thing: it's like my kid, who's a 7-year-old little boy, he walked out. That was fun. I like Lobo a lot. I'm like, yeah, Lobo's cool, man. Like he's not like my
he's
guy,
gonna
but I'm like, I'm glad you like him. You know?
he's gonna come out of the bathroom with like black eye paint around his eye,
Yeah,
and he's gonna have
exactly.
like a fake cigar, and
Yeah,
he's
he
gonna
was like,
call
he's like, he was more
your wife
concerned
a
about
bastard.
is
And you're
he
like,
was more
"Oh."
concerned. It's like, why can the motorcycle fly through space without him wearing a helmet? I'm like, it's all right, buddy. Let's not let's not get into it too much. But he was very
It
concerned
does
about the
come.
motorcycle flying through space without a space helmet on. I was like,
That's
well,
pretty funny.
yeah, but no, I mean, like overall, like it's just that it was fine. It was above a C. Like I'd say, it's like it was like a B minus B plus at points, but like it was in that B range where I was like,
Yeah.
was I mad that I spent as much money as I did going to the theater? Well, maybe I shouldn't have bought the popcorn, but it was fine. It was a good
Yeah.
way to spend 2 hours basically.
Yeah,
I
I
do
think
have
I'm in
some
the
criticism.
B minus C plus area.
Yeah, I was like B minus ish. I mean, like, again,
Yeah.
we'll get into the specifics about all of it, but yeah, I the amount of well, we'll talk about it. It's the amount of like you just said, the discourse online has been insane. I think people are just being, I don't say
Ridiculous.
reactionary, but just being ridiculous. I think you're right. But we will discuss that in just a few moments. Let's talk about other things related to the film.
Yeah, so I mean, throughout the podcast, we've kind of really just only talked about Supergirl in passing, and
Yeah.
like I think you mentioned like you're kind of reading some of like the Peter David run
Yeah,
a
yeah,
bit
yeah,
ago,
yeah. I was. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
but because you're the local expert on all things and everything Supergirl related, um no, just
No,
tell us more about like the history of
well, it's funny. Yeah, I mean,
Supergirl.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I had to do a little bit of research on her. I've read most of her stuff, like pretty much like post Peter David. In one fashion or another,
Mhm.
whether it's Jeff Loeb or whoever writing the book, or when he brought her back actually. But anyway, but I actually had to kind of go back and do a deep dive on her because I was like, one of the big kind of questions is like, who is Supergirl, especially how she relates to Superman. Obviously we know that the history that she's like the cousin of Clark. We know she comes from Argo
Yeah.
City. Argo City was like a part of Krypton that when it exploded, they basically were sealed in a dome that kind of kept them from, being, blown up with the rest of the Kryptonians. So we all know that kind of basic back history. But
But
in
that's
terms
the
of
thing
who
though
she,
too, like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, just going back
yes,
with that though too, I mean, coming out of this movie and then
mhm,
doing a little bit of research myself, I thought I knew about Supergirl as well, but
yeah.
it's like,
Oh, it's
I totally
changes a
did
lot.
not. Yeah, because it's like, the timing of when she leaves
Yeah.
is always all over the place, of, like, when
Yep.
she's in her own rocket is all over the
Yep.
place, and then
Yep.
of when, like how she gets to Earth or just
Yep.
and things like
Is
that,
it
it just.
it's like she was time dilated in some, she's in a meteor in another one, then she's like,
Right.
oh, she leaves, yeah, she leaves when she's a teenager when it's blowing up, and she just arrives after him, and yeah, some of them
Yeah,
she's supposed to be there to protect him when he gets there because she's a teenager and he's a baby, but because of time
right.
dilation, she ends up getting there after the fact, so there's a lot of like mixed history with her, and she definitely has seen her fair share of retcons. Then you start adding in the Matrix aspect of it, which is this protoplasmic alien entity from a pocket dimension that Lex Luthor then it gets starts to get
Yeah.
real funky.
And
And
then
we're gonna get into that.
sometimes she's even from Candor and not,
Yes.
Argo. But, again, I'm sorry, I preempted you, but so
Oh, no, no, it's all good.
eh
This is exactly why we're talking about this,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. So who created her?
Okay, so anyway, she was created by Otto Binder and Al Pastino back in 1959. It should be noted that Otto Binder was kind of known for doing female characters back in the day. He created Mary, or was like responsible for like Mary Marvel of the Captain Marvel family. So he was kind of like, hey, he also did like Miss America, which was like the counterpoint to Captain America, even though that had nothing to do
So
with Captain America. He was kind of known for doing this kind of thing. So
huh.
um, it is also worth noting that, like I said, even though she makes her first appearance in 1959 in Action Comics 252, the actual trademark of Supergirl and Superwoman dates back to the 40s, like basically around like 45 or so. And what happened was Superman's like obviously a huge success. He makes his debut in the 30s. DC's got, or National Comics at the time, but DC's got this huge thing like, oh my God, we're making money hand over fist. We can't let someone else take that name. And so they literally just take like a boy commando comic and just slap Superwoman on the title just so they can
Uh-huh.
trademark the thing. And same with Supergirl, like a year later, oh, we got to make sure we don't lose Supergirl. And they slap it on another one and they just release it as like an ash can comic, which was just a low limited print run so they could just trademark the name. So the trademark goes back to the 40s, and I think in 43, um, Lois like somehow gets takes a magic potion. She becomes Superwoman at one point. So there's some little bit of history there. But then you get to 1958, and they actually, and it was I think it was Otto Binder. They release a a story where it's Super Dash Girl. Because if you know,
Hmm.
this would be about to get nerdy real quick here. So in Superman is Superman. It's all Superman. Spider-Man though is Spider dash man. So there's like this like kind of like difference. And so when Supergirl made her first appearance in 1958, it was Super Dash Girl. And it turns out it's just a dream that like Jimmy Olsen had where he's like, oh, I want, and whatever. And they kind of test the waters with this Super Dash Girl. Like, okay, hey, fan reaction's pretty good. Same exact outfit, blonde hair, Superman chest, Superman S chest, all that stuff. So 1959, they actually, okay, we're going to go for it, but it's going to be Supergirl, Super Supergirl without the dash, basically.
Mhm.
I'm sorry to get nerdy, but like
No,
it's
no.
so it's silly.
It's funny. That's how there's one panel in a Spider-Man comic where he just says like you got to respect the hyphen, and that's how I always remember that Spider-Man has a hyphen.
The spider, yeah, so Spider Dash Man, yeah, exactly. Like I said, as I said, she the actual, Kara makes her first appearance in Action Comics 252. And she's kind of like Superman's secret weapon. He kind of keeps her hidden because he doesn't want the public to know about her. And she'll pop up every once in a while to help him on a really hard villain or whatever. But for like basically like 3 years, she's kind of like on the side. You don't really see her much. And then finally, they're like, you know what? We're going to make this debut. She comes out swinging, presents her to the to the world, and she's out in the open, and she is now Supergirl. She would basically be in backup stories of Action Comics, basically all throughout the 60s up until about 69. And then she kind of headlined the Adventure Comics book at the time, which is like similar to like Action Comics or Detective Comics. They had Adventure Comics. It was basically Adventure Comics with Supergirl. And that lasts until about 72 when they just said, you know what? This whole women's thing, we need to maybe we should give like another book to a woman character. So they give her her own Supergirl book, like the first full on
Hmm.
Supergirl book. Unfortunately, this is pretty short-lived. Not only it's not that her sales were bad, they were just bad compared to the rest of the Superman books, which were all hot-selling items. And at the time, I believe there was a paper shortage going on in America, and so they had to like, "We have to cut back on all our Lois Lane titles." So they take the Lois Lane book, the Jimmy Olsen book, and the Supergirl book, and they mash them together into one oversized issue called the Superman Family Book. And basically, every character would get like a 3-issue arc. It's like 3 issues of Jimmy, 3 issues of Lois, 3 issues of Super, and we kind of like rotate through the book that way for a while. Um, Eventually, though, this would get canceled, and then that would roll into a new Supergirl book. And they're like, okay, we're now gonna, I think it was like the Adventures of Supergirl, and then it became just like Supergirl, I believe. That kind of leads me into like the question though, and I kind of want to raise this to you, what is the appeal of Supergirl versus Superman? Like what, why I know I do have the answer, but I'm kind of curious your thoughts. Like why what's the difference between the two? Obviously one's a guy, one's a girl, but what separates them from each other?
Yeah,
Or go
for
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 you, man.
me, yeah, for
Yeah.
me, what I what's more of an interesting um uh difference between her and Superman
Mhm.
is how she came to Earth in a sense of like
Mhm.
she knew more about Krypton than
Yeah.
Superman. Like
Yeah. She
Superman
lived
gets
on
all
Krypton.
his yeah, exactly. Superman gets all his like Krypton knowledge like like just through records and through history books or
Mhm.
things like that. Or she
Jor-El,
actually
holograms.
lived it. Yeah, she actually lived it and lived through it. And then I think like they said this in the animated series, but it's like she's going from this super high technological like
Mhm.
advanced uh um just planet to like Earth and
Yep.
stuff. So it's just kind of like she's kind of back to the Stone Age in a sense.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
kind of that all that change of her sensibility and just the big change from from Krypton to Earth, but also just being under Superman's shadow at the same time. So it's just
Yep.
kind of like a whole
Yeah.
bunch of like different aspects of this character that are just really great. And she brings the youthfulness to Superman because
Yep.
Superman's an old character. She brings that youthfulness to it.
Yeah, it's funny because that is one of the main points is that, she also is like a legitimate immigrant, like, who remembers the homeland, like
Right.
Superman for all intents and purposes is a human being who has superpowers. He grew up with humans, he was raised by humans. She grew up and raised on Krypton under Kryptonian parents, and then comes here to a new world, like you said, a Stone Age world at that, and it suddenly have to like changes her entire identity. It's funny because at the time, a lot of the editors or some of the writers, not all, just some of the editors, like, it was just like, oh, she's just Superman with boobs, who cares? But other
Mhm.
writers, and it's funny, it's because a lot of people had that attitude about her. It allowed a lot of other writers to do things with her that they couldn't do with Superman. And this is what I think, as I've done my research, I was trying to read what's the appeal of her. Why did she appeal so much to the fans? Besides like trying to cater to a new audience, which was a female audience that they didn't have a lot of, the other big thing with her was that they could do change with her. If you look at Superman, for the most part, he is a static character. He is Clark Kent. He's in love with Lois Lane, and he's constantly trying to hide his identity from her as Superman. And he also is a reporter for the Daily Planet. He doesn't grow outside of that for a very long time. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Mhm.
until the 90s that they actually, when they killed him, they got him married. Later on he has a son. All that kind of stuff, that he's able to step outside of that, for lack of a word, shadow. Kara, on the other hand, she was able to grow. She had multiple like different boyfriends or love interests. She not only went to school, she graduates school, she goes to a different school, she moves around the country, she has different jobs, she has different looks. Like she's constantly changing her costume, and all the while, this is all stuff that Clark couldn't do or Superman couldn't do. She's also fighting crime, she's fighting supervillains. She very much, in a weird way, was like Spider-Man. It was like they realized, like,
Mhm.
what was the big thing about Spider-Man? It's like, yeah, he's fighting Doc Ock, and that's cool. But the thing that people were drawn to is like, what's his relationship with Flash? What's his relationship with Felicia? What's his relationship with Liz Grant? Or was it, yeah, Grant. Was it Liz Grant? Anyway,
Liz Allen.
with Liz Allen thing, I was like, "That didn't sound right."
Mhm.
Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy. It's
Yeah.
like he's constantly, what's his relationship with Harry? You know what I mean? And so, like, that's what they realized worked with her, is that they could change things up, something they could not do with Superman. He has to stay a static character. And so that's what I think a lot of fans gravitated towards her, because she was Superman, but that could change.
But yeah, like you said too, which is funny is now that's what they've been kind of doing with modern Superman and Clark
Mhm.
Kent with not only just changing like having him grow, with a kid and stuff, but also
Yep.
like what was it? It was the Greg Pak storyline where he's just kind of um like he changed his costume. He
Oh,
was just in like a t-shirt and jeans and he was going
yeah,
around
well,
the
Grant, it
world
was
and
Grant,
then
yeah, Grant Morrison's first run was with the
oh
blue,
right.
The Bruce Springsteen, which was just blue jeans and a
Right.
T-shirt.
Right.
And then after that, it was Greg Pak, and they had the no paint, or the no underoos, and
Right.
the
But
collar. Yeah.
and then Mark Wade's Birthright, having go
Mhm.
around the it was,
Yeah.
semi his like not his origin, but it's just kind of like
It's continuation of his
pre-Superman.
origin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and just like going around the world and
Mhm.
doing different jobs and stuff like that. So it's funny how like she laid down the groundwork
Mhm.
for Superman. It was like a full circle where like Superman laid down the groundwork for her character, and then her character
Yeah.
laid down the groundwork for how
Yeah.
modern Superman is and how well it's being just received by fans.
Well, it's funny you should say that because, you look at, like you just said, Superman, he has, kind of been, like you said, he was a static character. Now, obviously he's married and he has a kid. And I was going to say, Bendis, whether you love or hate that run, you can't deny he tried to instill change in the character, revealing his identity and, quitting basically not quitting the planet, but like, dealing with all that stuff and, having his son get aged up. Again, I don't agree with these
Yeah, I was
decisions per
about to say yeah.
se, but, you can't deny that he at least tried to do something different with the character. I mean, it all got essentially retconned back for the most part, but
Yeah. I
oh,
think
and
the
the other
whole
thing. Oh, go ahead.
the Bendis I think that with the Bendis changes though too, they were right after other changes that were doing
Yeah,
well for Superman
yeah,
already.
specifically
So
the father
the
aspect of
father
it, yeah.
part and the John part. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I
yeah.
say father, Superman as a father, you know what
No,
I
yeah,
mean?
and
Yeah,
John, that's what I'm
and
saying,
yeah,
like
yeah,
aging him up and then
yeah.
also Jor-El. So yeah.
Well, there's a chance. I mean, right now they've got, I'm hoping their fingers crossed that they de-age him, but that's a discussion
Yeah.
for another time. The other thing she also has to deal with it is another aspect is the fact that she is a female in essentially a man's world and deals with chauvinism
It's a
and machismo and
man's
all,
world. Yeah.
which it's funny too because a lot of the writers read some interviews with the writers at the time. They're like, "Yeah, we didn't write her like as this like we wrote her as an equal to everybody." And everyone's like, "Well, that's not real. That's not this, that, and the next thing." They're like, "No, but that's how it should be. It should be that she's
Mhm.
equal. She should be on this equal playing field." Because like and it's funny, like people got caught up in that over. It's like you realize this is an alien that flies through the sky and has laser beam eyes, but you're getting caught up with the fact that like this isn't real. They were just like, no, we wanted to say this is what the world should look like. Is she is equal. She's on the same footing as him, and this is what we should aspire to be. I really like that
How
about those
crazy we're
writers.
still having that conversation about this
Oh, I
movie that
know.
we're talking about.
I know. 50 years later, 50 freaking
Goodness,
years later.
yeah.
So anyway, all of this leads up to, like you said, this is all the Silver Age. This is all pre-crisis. All of this back history. That leads us into what this a very huge event in the we've talked about this before, but I'll make it brief. There's an event called Crisis on Infinite Earths where DC is like, we have too many sprawling storylines and characters that are from Earth One or Earth Two or Earth Three. Batman knows, is married in this one, and he has a kid with, it's Huntress in this one, and Superman's doing this over here, and like Lois Lane was black in this issue. Like it's all over the place. And so like we're gonna get it all, we're gonna clean it all up with this event called Crisis. And we're gonna put everything into one shared continuity and it's all gonna work together. But by doing that, that meant that DC had to make a few changes. One of the things that they'd said at the time is that there was too many Kryptonians in the DC universe, that it just wasn't special to be Superman. You've got Crypto, you've got Supergirl, you got the city of Kandor, you got the three the three criminals, General Zod and
Yeah,
his ilk.
Zod,
Yeah, Zod and all them.
Ursula,
You've got yeah, yeah, yeah. You had all them. They're like, we're gonna
Comet.
yep, we're gonna get rid of all of it. It's just gonna be Superman. And so this is also, and there's some debate online. And Marv Wolfman, the writer, denies it, but this is coming on the heels of the Supergirl movie coming out in 1984, which has Helen Slater in the titular role.
Which that one's
Um,
crazy. That one's a
the movie's
crazy
actually
movie.
insane. Oh, it's
The movie's
insane.
crazy.
Apparently, like I want to say it was like Wolfman or I don't know who it was, but it was one of the writers went to the screening, like when they screened it,
Mhm,
and Helen Slater was there, and she like was in tears. She's like, "Oh my god, I've just ruined my career." Like literally was in tears. She's like,
mhm,
"I've ruined my career." And like, it's not that bad. Oh man, it's
mhm.
bad. And like
Yeah.
it was a flop and a half, and
I think,
almost good.
the podcast "How Did This Get Made," I think does, a
Oh,
great
breaks it down.
episode on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
They're hilarious. Have you ever listened to that podcast? It's great. It's
No,
so
yeah,
good.
I haven't. I'll have to check it out. Well, I do know it. I do know it. So
Mm.
anyway, Marv Wolfman at the time was like, "Yeah, we already kind of started laying the groundwork in 1981. We knew we were going to be resetting for the 50th anniversary of DC Comics. We were going to be resetting a lot of stuff. So like, it was already in the works." He's like, "Granted, probably if the movie had been a success, we probably wouldn't have been able to kill her off, but it was kind of already in motion." In fact, he posted, or at least in the article I was reading, it was it was a little post-it to Jeanette Kahn, who was the editor in chief of, or the public president of DC Comics, I forget. And he's basically like, he's like, "Can we kill Supergirl? I need to know now. Yes, no, yes, but you replace her immediately, or none of the above." And she originally put none of the above, scratched it out, and then put just like a check mark with yes, and send it back to him. And it's like, nowadays a decision like that would be through 50 lawyers and
Yeah.
email chain. That was like a simple post-it note. We need to kill Supergirl. Yes. Like, do you like me? Yes or no?
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, it's like a little grade school note.
Exactly. So anyway, the poor reception of the Supergirl probably impacted this, but it sounds like this was already going to happen, at least according to Warren Wolfman.
Mhm.
Um, and so it led to what is probably one of the most iconic covers in comic book history. I would definitely say
Yeah.
top 10. This is a comic that's been homaged and ripped off and used ad nauseum over and over again. In fact, so the artist is George Perez, and it shows super. I believe it's Crisis number 7, and
Mhm.
it's Superman holding the dead and bloodied body of Kara, Supergirl, and he's just bawling.
Yeah,
There's
he's like
being
either yelling or crying. Yeah.
he's crying. He's straight up crying.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like in this, like I said, I was reading an article, and there's all these pictures of George Perez holding uh Supergirl cosplayers, and he's doing the same thing. I was
That's
like, that's
great.
awesome. But
Like
yeah,
to me that's like akin to the Akira slide.
yeah.
Like it's been homage so many times and so many
Oh,
different things. It's fun to see.
yeah,
Like,
that and the Days of Futures Past with, the dead,
yeah, that one.
that one,
Like
that, all the that
now
one,
the
the
absolute Batman number one. That was
yeah,
starting to
I'd
get
say
that kind of treatment.
exactly that, and like, Spider-Man number 1, probably Todd McFarlane. There's certain
Yeah.
covers that, that are used, and this is one of those covers. Like, it's constantly, and it's constantly redone, over and over and over again. So
Yeah.
that leads us into a now post-crisis world where Supergirl does not exist. Superman is the only Kryptonian, and kind of that's that for a moment until Supergirl comes back suddenly. She's found in the Arctic, and like, wait, she's alive? Yes, but no. Turns out there's a pocket dimension where Lex Luthor, who was a good guy, found this protoplasmic matrix entity. It's called Matrix, but it's this protoplasmic entity that took the form of Supergirl for some time,
Yeah, yeah.
and she becomes romantically involved in Lex Luthor 2, who's supposedly Lex Luthor's son, but it's actually Lex Luthor just in a clone body or whatever. And she's around for the death of Superman, even though it's like everyone knows that
Oh,
it's not
yeah.
Supergirl. She just looks like Supergirl, but it's this thing called the Matrix, and she can
I remember
shapeshift.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
And it
exactly.
was this is Lex Luthor like full on hair and beard. Like
Hair
Lex
in the
Luthor.
beard, the
Yeah.
red hair in the beard and all that, yeah, like, Team Luther in
Yeah.
Supergirl, all that stuff. Then she finds out that, oh, Lex Luthor's not a good guy, like, he literally just cloned 100 versions of me and is gonna, like, take over the world. Yeah, it's nuts. But anyway, so Supergirl exists, in this sort of, like, protoplasmic energy form, but it's not like her, it's not Kara. Um this will eventually lead to, like I said, the Peter David run, the aforementioned Peter David run that we talked about, where this protoplasmic entity would merge with this girl who's dying, and they kind of form together, like, taking on her identity but still being Supergirl. Well, eventually this would lead into, her name was Linda Danvers, and this would lead into this sort of earthborn angel of fire or angel of death, or
Huh.
it's kind of bananas. I'm reading through it right now. It's great. It's just it's funky.
Huh.
Um, Eventually there would be Kara from Earth One. The pre-crisis would arrive for a little bit, and there was a little bit of shenanigans with Crisis on Infinite Earths and all that, like kind of retconning some of the stuff there. But eventually she's like, "I'm done. I'm out. Peace out." And the Matrix kind of just disappears. We see her once or twice and stuff, but that's kind of done. And that leads us to the Superman, or the Superman Batman book that Jeff Loeb was doing. We've
Yeah,
talked
the
about that
volume
book a little
2.
bit. Yep, coming right out of Hush. Part one was with Ed McGuinness. Part two
Yeah.
was with Mike Turner, and they were like, "We're bringing Supergirl back, and she's back, baby."
Mhm.
And yeah, it's she kind of pals around the DC universe for a while. She's straight up cousin of Clark. She speaks Kryptonian, all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. I
Batman is
quickly
very um
suspicious.
suspicious of her.
Yeah.
Like The whole
I
if it was something one word in Kryptonian that could be like
Yeah, treasure,
destruction or treasure,
terror
yeah, or something
treasure,
like that.
terror, or trouble, I think is what it was. It was like there's like a word that could be interchanged.
Yeah,
Yeah, and she straight up is like I love that she's like in like she's already wearing clothes, and she's like straight up wearing like a thong that's hanging out. I'm like, "Oh, good old Mike
yeah,
Turner, just gotta
good
get
old
those
Mike
thongs."
Turner, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, I don't know why they let that one through, but sure." Eventually she'd go on and she'd go into the 30th century, 31st century, whatever it is, and join the Legion of Superheroes in the sort of post Infinite Crisis slash 1 more year or 1 year later kind of arc. And she's there for a bit. And that eventually leads us into the next reset of DC continuity, which is good old New 52.
New
Uh,
52.
New 52. I don't know. Basically, in New 52, they throw away all of this continuity they just kind of reestablished as DC, uh, you know, reset it. And in this continuity, Kara is like in suspended animation in a spacecraft around the sun, and then she lands in Siberia. She awakens to find she's the last daughter of Krypton, and she's landed on an alien world with a bunch of hostile people who use primitive technology and talk in strange language. And I'm like, okay, standard. It starts off strong enough, and then kind of just like meanders by the end. And then, of course, 5 years later, what does DC do again? They reset continuity again with Rebirth.
You literally call it rebirth.
Which, to be fair, they did hit it out the park with Rebirth. Like they needed
I thought
to after
rebirth
New
was
52.
great.
Rebirth is awesome. And I almost bought every single book that came out of Rebirth. And
Mhm.
again, it's sort of like all that is thrown away again. All the New 52 changes are undone, and they kind of brought Kara back to her like original roots. Um, and that kind of ultimately leads us to what is known as like the Infinite Frontier Initiative, which launches the 8 issue miniseries Superman Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King and Bill Kosievely. This is basically the source material for the book or for the movie. Sorry. This book is the source material for the movie. It says 8 issue miniseries that follows Supergirl as she tries to help out a young alien girl named Ruthie to get revenge on this man, Creme of the Yellow Hills, who killed her father. While there are a great many similarities between the book and movie, there are some definite departures,
Mhm.
which we will get into in a few moments. But before that, I got to ask you, Josh, did you read Woman of Tomorrow? And if so, what did you think of the book?
I did read, Woman of Tomorrow, but I read it actually after I saw the movie,
Mm, interesting.
which I kind of recommend people to do that. I think I heard somebody else say that too, and I thought it was like
Okay.
it kinda works because it's like the extended edition
Yeah.
of there is a lot of differences,
Yeah.
but also I'm like, do I like it as much as a lot of people are saying they liked it?
Oh,
No, I
mhm.
mean, I thought it was okay, but I mean, a lot of people are just like, "This is the greatest Supergirl story of all time," and like, okay. I think it was fun, but I don't know if it's like a top Tom King storyline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
We have thoughts about Tom King, obviously, and
yeah.
he's either hit or
But when
miss for me
he
usually.
hits. Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
Jeff Lubb. When he hits, he hits. When he misses, kind of misses wide.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, um, I have a lot of thoughts about the book. I really do, and I vacillate, especially post-movie, how I feel about the book. I won't
Mhm.
deny it's a beautiful book, and
I was thinking that, yeah.
the writing is very eloquent in the book, like, the specific because it's all from the perspective of Ruthie as she's recounting this whole adventure she goes on with Supergirl to get revenge, essentially. And while it's very floral, the language is like very floral and beautiful and gorgeous and all that. I,
It's a lot.
I it's a lot. And I did find myself when I read it, like finding myself, I don't want to say depressed, but I found it like dark. I didn't feel like it wasn't uplifting the way I think he thought it was going to be uplifting. I found
Mhm.
myself kind of like sad more than anything else. Um, I And it's funny, post the movie, I because I read it before the movie, and it
Mm.
did take me a few times to kinda get through. So I tried to read it once or twice before, and I got to about the midway point, I was like, "I feel like this is 2 issues too long." Every single time, I was like, it's just at that point, I'm like, it's too, like,
Yeah.
it almost felt too highfluent. I can't even say that word, but it felt like it was just too much. And I was like, it needed to lose an issue or two. I felt like it was like that decompressed storytelling, I guess is what they call it. And I felt like it's at times I'm like, you could have truncated some of this. Um,
Mhm.
that all said, like post the movie, like I was like, wow, I don't know if the screenwriter missed the point, but like I would have done that change in the book. The book that what some of the stuff in the book I would have done instead. Like I felt like I
Yeah.
don't know, I felt like there were some misses there. Um I think post
Conceptually too.
yeah, I was gonna say post the movie, I think I like the book a lot better, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Um beforehand, I was like, it's fine. To your point, like I think people are like this is the best Supergirl story. I'm like, if it is, like I've been missing.
Mm.
I'm like, I don't agree with that. I don't. I think it's good. Here's the best way I can describe it. Did you ever play Last of Us?
No.
The video, but the video game, right? Last of
Yeah, I know
Us,
the video
and
game. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I'm probably gonna piss some people off right now, but like Last of Us was one of those games where I started playing it. I was like, this is a very well written, well made, well acted. The gameplay is great. Everything about it like checked boxes, but I found myself just like sad playing it. I found myself depressed. I found myself like, I'm not enjoying myself reading or playing this game. Like, I enjoyed the show, but like when I was like playing the game, I was like, I feel just like beaten down by life when I played this game. I was like, I didn't feel like I was, and I know that like, video games don't all have to be like, hey, I'm Mario and I'm jumping on turtle shells. But like, at no, like for me, like a lot of games, and it has not to be every single game, but a lot of games have to be like, it's like, it's a release, it's an
An
escape. And
escape,
I was
yeah.
like, and I wasn't getting that from that movie or from that game, and it's very similar when I was reading the book, I was like, "I'm not getting that escape I like from comics." That's not to say every comic has to be an escape. Sometimes we need to dig into stuff that we don't wanna discover, we don't wanna look at or look back in the mirror at ourselves, but I found, like, that book specifically, I was like, I'm not enjoying this." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That said, post the movie, I'm like, I respect the book a lot more because I think they did the right things, but we'll get into that and why that is in just a moment. Um, where does Supergirl rank for you in terms of superheroes? Like, where does she fall? Like your like, because I feel like you enjoy her quite a bit. Like I know you seem to read a lot of books
I
that she's in.
Yeah, no, I like the character. I think she's up there. I like a lot of the Kryptonian stuff that's,
Mhm. That's what I mean. You seem to
with
be really enmeshed
Superman.
in that world. You really like
Yeah.
that stuff, that world.
I'm like, um yeah, I like the different aspects of Superman's Kryptonian. So like, the Zod or
Mhm.
the Jax or Ursula and
Mhm.
Flamebird and Nightwing, the
Yeah.
original Nightwing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stuff like Candor and things like that.
Mhm.
And because I like Superman as a character, and I just the
Yeah.
concept too of just thinking like, what if there's a bunch of other Superman,
Mhm.
and uh, uh, Daxor and Mon-El and things like that.
Mhm.
So it's like
Mhm.
there's a lot of like untapped potential, um,
Mhm.
that I think is done that can be done really well, and Supergirl's part of that.
Yeah.
I do think like she's a great, she can run her own book for sure.
Well,
But also I think she works really well with other characters because she has that more of like a just a different youthfulness
viewpoint. Yeah.
and viewpoint. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Batgirl thing. It's like,
Hmm.
Barbara, she's not just, or even Batwoman, like they're not just they're not just female versions of Batman. It's like
Right.
Barbara very much, Barbara is so strong, she can be her own. Literally, you just do a Barbara Gordon book and it would be just as good if whether it was a Batgirl book or an Oracle book. Like Barbara
Right.
Gordon is such a well drawn character, and even to that extent, like, you get a little bit of that with Catherine Kane, aka Batwoman. Like, she's such a well-drawn character. It's like, yes, she's a Batman, she's female Batman, but she's more than that. And it's the same with Supergirl, I feel, for the reasons that you just raised. And the reasons we raised earlier is that, she has such a different viewpoint. She is an immigrant. She did watch the destruction of people. And like it's like, how do you find optimism in life when you've literally watched your entire history just got wiped out? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
how do you not just go completely dark and inward and just become cold to the world, you
Especially when
know?
yeah, like, the difference, yeah, with her and Superman, she lived as Superman, got it
Yes.
secondhand, basically.
And yeah, and so that's why, and that kind of goes back to the Tom King book where it's like the more and more I've read into her and kind of
Mhm.
gotten into the backstory of the character, I'm like, I don't like the it's like, oh, the dark brooding version of her, but it's like it does make sense. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, how do you
Yeah,
how do you continue to, try to be nice or be good? You don't have to be nice, but be good when you've literally watched everything fall apart around you.
right.
And that's kinda where I'm like, I feel like the book by King, like, kinda like it goes up a few notches for me. Am I gonna reread it again? Probably not, but I get the appeal of it a little bit more, if
Yeah,
that
and
makes
it is
sense.
and like we said too before, it is a beautiful book. It's
Yeah.
definitely
Oh, it's
if you like
gorgeous.
it's very, like, colorful, and the art
Yeah.
is done very well, and it's very
Ye Well, that's
it's,
funny. Yeah.
even though there's a lot of dialogue in there, it's
Y
still, easier
It's
to
pretty.
follow. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's pretty, so,
Yeah.
um
So yeah, it's just it's interesting. Like I can't say that she's like one of my favorite characters of all time.
yeah,
I unfortunately I can't. I do have a significant
because 'cause
portion of her
you're
comic.
sexist, that's fine.
I mean, it is. I prefer Metamorpho or people that are more androgynous. I don't know. No, like I said, I actually, like I said, I've been digging into the Peter David stuff. I just like Peter David a lot, and so it's fun to kind of see his take on this sort of Supergirl mythology. Speaking of other versions of Supergirl, though, where do you think, as an actress, or as a character, or as a version of Supergirl, where does this version of her kind of line up when you have like uh the Arrowverse version, the Smallville version, the Helen Slater from the original Supergirl,
Hmm.
or even the animated series? Like, how did you feel about this version stacked up against those other versions?
I thought she did very well in the character in this movie. I thought it was
Yeah.
very good. So, like, yeah, comparing just going through all the different Supergirls, I mean, there's, one of my favorites is, Nicole Thom who did the voice of the animated series. I think she
Mhm,
was, that character was done really well in both
mhm.
so the Superman animated series and then the, Justice League
Yeah.
cartoon. And, I really liked her in that because,
Mhm.
yeah, she's one of the people too that, calls out Superman on, like,
Yeah.
being a dork and stuff, and, which is
Mhm.
great. Like,
Yeah.
that isn't Lois. Um,
Mhm.
and she's the little sister, little cousin, very much
Yeah.
so. And then,
Well, speaking
um
of Justice League, we're rewatching that with my kid right now.
oh, yeah.
The
Isn't
not
it
Justice League, we're
amazing?
getting yeah, we went from, like, jumped around Batman, jumped around Superman, which he loves this Superman animated series. Like, one of the
Mhm.
there's, like, the episode with the Promethean, where it's like this giant monster that absorbs. He loves that episode. He'll
Yeah.
make us watch it over and over again. But we just got into actual Justice League. He's like, "Wait a minute, where's Batman in this one?" I'm like, "He's not in this one." He's like, "Oh, so it's just Superman?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's gonna be Superman and Manhunter. They're doing whatever this time." Or, I like that they kind of jump around. But yeah, he fell in love because we did do Unlimited a few years back, or a year or two back, and he loved the Supergirl and Green Arrow episode. That was like the one that kicked off Unlimited, I think.
Yeah,
But
Green
I
Arrow is
digress.
like MVP, I think, of Unlimited, but
Oh, he's great.
we'll do an
We
episode
gotta do it. We gotta
of
do a
that
Green
whole
Arrow book,
show.
man.
Yeah. Do the mayor one. But we're talking about Supergirl.
That's true.
I think another really good Supergirl though too was Melissa Benoist.
Mhm. Mhm.
Benoit. The
I'm
Arrowverse Supergirl.
Yeah.
I think she did really well. I mean, the Supergirl show I thought was great, but it had the same kind of problems that all the Arrowverse shows had, where it was on too long. They
Yeah.
just like Arrow was on too long. They kind of started running out of ideas, and same thing with the Flash. I don't
Uh,
even want to get the drop off of the Flash or just how much I was
I'm
disappointed towards the end. But she's very good uh, in the Arrowverse one, and crazy how it started as a CBS show and then moved to
Yeah, I
CW.
did. Yeah, I remember all the drama with that. What about, you also wrote in the notes, Smallville as well?
Yeah, that was like a big deal when they introduced her, and there was like a whole season. I thought she was good in that too. I mean,
Mhm.
um, like Smallville is like a different type of bag. Like that was definitely like an
Mhm.
early 2000s show. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
um, but again, I think my two favorites are an Arrowverse and the animated series, and I think right now too, like what's the new Superman show? It's the
Oh,
Superman's Pal.
My Adventures with Superman, or, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
which
or
that was an interesting twist on Supergirl as well. On that,
okay, I haven't watched any of these, so the only thing I've
mhm.
actually seen, I remember seeing Supergirl, the movie, when I was a kid and enjoying it, and now probably would not enjoy it as an adult if, for reasons. And I've watched the Justice League stuff with, from the animated series stuff with Supergirl, but I can't speak to Arrowverse, Smallville, or My Adventures, unfortunately. Sorry.
That's okay. You didn't do your research. That's fine.
It's not
Um,
research. I'm just not gonna watch 10 seasons of Smallville. I'm sorry,
so
Tom Welling, not happening.
your loss. Um,
Sorry, Bo.
but definitely if you have, I would definitely check out the CW Supergirl. It's just a fun show. If you
The
have
problem
time,
is,
I know
like,
you don't have
I
time.
was gonna say, the
Yeah,
problem is, like, it's like traditional TV where it's like 22 episode seasons of our TV, and like you said, it goes
yeah,
on 6 or 7 seasons, then you have all the Arrowverse stuff and the Flash stuff and the something of tomorrow, the Heroes of Tomorrow, or whatever it is.
yeah.
Whatever,
I mean,
yeah,
Legends of Tomorrow, and but
Legends of
it's
Tomorrow, thank you.
they have like there's some fun like crossover
I'm
episodes
sure.
at
Oh, yeah.
first with her and Flash and things like it. Just she has that like
Yeah.
Superman
Yeah.
like um this is gonna sound bad with Superman bubbliness,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Okay.
and honestly, it's one of like the best Supermans as well. I think
Oh, yeah, that's what
the
brought Tyler
Superman and
Hoechlin in.
Lois,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, Tyler,
Tyler,
it's
he was
yeah,
one of the best Supermans. I think live action of like he's great. So
that's great. Well, that all said, let's actually discuss, like you said, the Supergirl movie, and now we are gonna get into spoilers at this point, so if you're kinda
yeah.
concerned with that, yeah, go ahead, Josh.
No, I'm saying, yeah, if you don't want any spoilers, pause and then definitely see the movie. If you liked, what you were hearing about the history of Supergirl and you want to actually see the movie, you haven't yet, definitely pause and then come back.
Mhm. And you're back? Motion, you're back. Alright, you're back.
Yeah.
Alright, let's get into it. You kind of briefly tried to say, I think we're both on the same page on this. Sorry, I was eating a mango. I apologize.
Hmm.
Um You heard us basically say that, yeah, the movie overall, fine, not great, not bad, not as bad as everyone's making it out to be. It
Yeah, some of these people are coming in hating it already
oh, yeah.
for
Oh, yeah.
whatever reason. Like,
Mhm.
not my Supergirl. Like, what is your Supergirl then, man?
Yeah, yeah. Really, tell me more, and uh-huh. Yeah, it's funny you should say that 'cause, yeah, I saw someone, 2 things I saw. One, I saw a Brit post online, it's like, "Hey, I went into the internet, or I went onto the movie theater and watched this movie with the Supergirl, it was a lot of fun, but then I got on the internet, now I hate it." You know? I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
but I was gonna
Like
say,
a lot of people are saying, "Well, it makes me like David Sweet's Superman better." Like, what are you talking about, man?
okay. Well,
He
it's
was
funny because
great in it, but it's just
yeah.
like, what does that have to do with anything?
It has nothing to do with anything. Well, it's funny 'cause so I was at the comic shop getting my books today, and some dude walks in and just straight up is like, "Man, do you see that piece of turd?" Like, to me and the owner, and he's like, "Do you see that
Mhm.
turd of a movie?" I'm like, "What?" And I literally was like, "What, the Supergirl movie? Dude, it wasn't that bad. What are you talking about?" He's like, "No, it wasn't." And, like, and luckily, the owner, like, immediately caught my back and was like, "Yeah, what are you talking about, dude? It wasn't that bad." Like, it was fine, and but he's like, "Well, and then you realize, like, oh, he's outnumbered, and immediately starts backpedaling. Like, "Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just, I would have done all this." I'm like, "Dude, yeah, you're totally entitled to your criticism of the movie, like, and you're right. That's wrong. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. It's not a bad movie, dude." And it's just interesting. I think he was looking to have that, like, yeah, let's
The Snyder
rile
Bro
up.
moment.
Yeah, and it was just me and the owner like, "No, it wasn't that bad." And I'm sure there's people listening to this like, "Dude, what are you guys talking about? Like, this thing sucked." Hey, you are entitled to your opinion, man, like,
Yeah.
or lady. Um, like, if you didn't like it, you didn't
You
like it.
cannot
Like,
like it. but
You don't
it's
have to
it
like it. Don't listen to
yeah,
me.
it seems like it's two ends of the spectrum. So it's like you people really, really hate it, or it's like you really, really like it, and then
Yeah.
or just like and both sides are like, if you really, really hate it, like, well, how could you like it? What are you talking about? You're horrible for
Yeah.
liking it. And then if you really like it, it's like,
Well, how could you say anything
well,
negative about it?
how could you say anything negative about it? What's wrong with you? What do you have a problem with Supergirl and women? Like,
Yeah.
no.
No, and the
And
thing is,
people,
like,
there's a middle of the ground movie and middle of the ground opinion of it.
well, and that's the thing with, like, and that's kind of unfortunately, it's become the discourse with anything now. It's either you gotta be 100% behind it or 100% not by attacking it. There's no room or middle ground, it seems like, at least on the internet, to at least go, "You know what? You can like things and still criticize them. You can still have, not like things and say, 'Hey, but here's the positive aspects of them.'" And this
Yeah.
is one of those movies where I'm like, I walked out again, like, I walked out, I was like, "Yeah, there was a few things I would have changed, honestly. There was a few things I didn't like." Does that mean the movie was a turd? No, not at all. I
Right.
mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, also, did you see BVS? Like, that
Right. And
or
but the same
Suicide
people
Squad?
who love those movies
Yeah, that's
are
true.
going in
Yeah,
and hating this movie for because it's
yeah.
not those movies.
Well, it's
So,
like, I guess, like, look, BVS has its moments, and I think the director's cut makes it a better movie, but, like, I wasn't in love with that movie. I thought, Affleck and what's his name? Cavill were doing the best they could with the script they
yeah.
had, but, like, even Suicide Squad was a hot mess, you know what I mean? Like, I
I was
walked out of the
not,
movie going, "What did I watch?" Um,
when you have to introduce
Again,
your characters twice in the movie,
yeah,
that's kinda
you
weird to
literally,
me.
yeah, it's needle drop after needle drop, which I do think that this
Mm,
movie suffered from, was the constant needle drops, and
yeah,
it's like,
well,
okay,
let's talk about highlights first.
yeah, sure. Go ahead,
What
please.
did you really like about it first?
Honestly, like, I just like that it was, like, a female character that didn't need, like, you didn't need the whole dude aspect of it to, like, define who she was, like the love interest or the dude to save
Mhm.
her or all of that. It's like, I like that she was her own strong female character and she kicked ass. I like the idea of, like, her just going on this adventure and helping a girl out who's, like, trying to get, like, revenge on this piece of S, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
liked a lot of that. I thought the visuals were, well, I won't say that. I thought the special effects were good. I think the visuals, that's a different discussion, but, overall, I enjoyed it as just like, this is just a movie. It's just a movie about a superhero. It wasn't end of the world. Like, that's the other thing too, is
Yeah.
we find so often it's like everything's gotta be like, the stakes have to be up here. It's like, no, it's just about stopping this guy or finding this guy. Um, and also saving our dog. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So what about you, man?
Um, yeah, I liked how it was a self-contained kinda story.
Mhm,
I liked, the acting in it for the most part.
mhm.
Well, I thought it was
Yep.
really, good. I thought it was a fun movie overall. That's what I
Yeah.
liked about it. It wasn't boring,
No.
which I thought was great. Um, like some of the concepts that they have in there. I love the flashbacks of Krypton and,
Mhm,
seeing, like, this DCU's, like, actual Krypton.
mhm.
Um, is, the and I liked the action. I thought was fun, as well.
Yeah.
And um, the 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 use of the character of some of
Yeah.
the characters. So, yeah, I mean, so again, I like just how overall it was a fun movie. I mean,
Yeah. Well, and like I said, even kinda going back to just, like, Supergirl as a character, like, I was like, they didn't necessarily get anything wrong with her,
right,
especially when you kind of really kinda start to contextualize, like, or put into context rather, like, this is a woman who has suffered a horrible tragedy, and, yeah, I don't blame her for being like, "I'm gonna go out and get loaded." It's the only place which is,
right.
kind of taken right from the comic book, but it's like, go out
It's a
and get
birthday
loaded.
too,
Yeah, and, like, just be away from it, and, like, I don't get why that nerd Clark, my cousin, is all optimistic and, happy, like, dude, like,
right?
do you realize what we as a people went through? Um, so stuff like that I thought was good. overall, like you just said, it was just there was a lot of fun. Like you said, it was entertaining enough throughout it. At no point was like looking at my watch, like, oh come on, let's wrap it
Mhm.
up. All right, come on, get along in the tooth here. I like a lot of the side characters, like I said, like Lobo. I also liked, and this is gonna sound weird, but I like that it wasn't like up its own ass with like Easter eggs left and right. You know,
Right,
like, oh, did you
yeah.
get that reference here? Did you get that reference there? It was
They
like,
could
I'm
have
sure they
easily done, like, a Green Lantern reference, and I'm kinda happy they didn't.
yeah, there was, like, there was little things here and there was, like, nods to the other movie, whether it was, like, there was, like, the headline of, Clark at the top or Superman at the top.
Yeah.
I honestly, one of my favorite moments was just, like, when the destruction of Krypton's happening, you see the rocket of Superman taking off or of Kal-El taking off, and then, like, he's Jor-El's or sorry, Zor-El just straight up
Sure.
calls out his brother. He's like, "Oh, there goes, Cal, who's gonna go off to be a conqueror of where he's headed off to." Like, it was like, "Yeah, good job, Jor-El, you jerk." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I like that kind of stuff. I was like, that was fine, but, like,
Mhm.
I didn't need, like you said, like, didn't need Abin Sur, the Green Lantern, to show up and try and stop it. I didn't need, like, "Oh, there's Darkseid, in the background," or you know what I mean? Like, I didn't need any of
Yeah.
that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm
It's very
glad that they were
self-contained overall, like, even within the
yes.
universe.
Which I think sometimes Marvel specifically kind of like loses, you know, sight of that, especially
Yeah.
when you look at things like Avengers 2 or there's a couple other movies that are like in that where it's like it's constant this world building. It's like let the worlds just exist and we will pull from it what we need. One of the things we talked about before the show started
Mhm.
was one of the things I liked that there wasn't a post credit sequence where it's like gotta tee up the next movie, gotta tease up the
Yeah.
next thing. Apparently, the post-credit sequence, they just said, "You know what? Screw it, put it into the movie," and it was that scene with her and Clark at the end where she's just like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm home now." And originally, that was gonna be the post-credit sequence. Like, no, that needed to be in the movie, and I'm glad that they did that.
Yeah, same. I think it worked that was in the movie for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like, overall, like, as a movie, again, B B minus ish at
Yeah.
times, certainly not as bad as people are making it out to be. I'd imagine, and I hate, well, we'll get into fan reaction in a second, but I imagine a lot of people that are crying foul aren't people who actually read Supergirl comics or at least say they do or have read,
Yeah.
on issue by Mike Turner and themselves a fan. But we'll get into that in a second. Um, what were some of the things though that you didn't agree with or you would have changed or what do you think?
Yeah. So I guess some of the stuff that just didn't hit for me or, what I
Yeah.
would've changed, like, overall, I think we talked about it on our Superman, like, episode. I just
Mhm.
don't like the whole Superman going out to be a conqueror, and they,
Mhm.
like you just pointed out, like, they doubled down on that.
No, they did.
Um,
I like that
and
they did though.
yeah, no, yeah, no, I understand that. I just as a concept, it just doesn't
Yeah,
hit right for
I don't like
me.
the concept of it, I just like that they called it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, yeah. I just it didn't that didn't hit right for me. But one thing too that I think would have just allowed it to be better, like they could have had they missed opportunity of like
Yeah.
the source material, like we said, like the
Mhm.
art is very beautiful and very colorful. This was kind of muted
Yes.
a little bit comparatively
Yes.
to it. Um
Absolutely. A lot of browns and darks.
a lot of brown in darks and just even just the creativeness of some of the aliens, I think, as well, or just
Yeah.
their interactions with some of the stuff. It could have been brighter.
Yeah.
Because I always associate Superman with being bright and then
Mhm.
Batman stuff being dark. That's kind of
Yeah.
like
Well, like you
the
just said,
whole
even
thing.
the source material is very bright, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
The
very
color
colorful.
yeah, I
Very
think
colorful palette.
they missed that opportunity a little bit.
Absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
the you alluded to this, and some of the needle drops on this movie were just
Mhm.
kind of a little bit like, huh? Like I that the in the middle
Mhm.
needle drop during the whole action scene.
Mhm.
I went to my wife. I was like, that is a weird choice.
Mhm.
It took me out of the movie a little bit
Yeah.
because I was like, what? Like that's like something that that's like it was like a cover of in the middle from
Yeah.
Jimmy World, but it was like a acoustic. It seemed like something that
Yeah.
you would see on like a
The
commercial
2011, yeah,
or just on a
2011 movie.
commercial.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they didn't go with
that
the
need
scene at all.
yeah, that needle drop, I agree, didn't hit.
And just the energy of the song, the type of song,
Mm.
it just didn't hit. Like it would have been so much better if they had like an uplifting like her theme basically
Mhm.
during that kind of
Yeah.
like
Or
the
just
the
use or just use the original Jimmy Eat World track, which is pretty high tempo, you know?
it is, but even that just wouldn't even really fit
It's true.
because it's
I agree.
I think you yeah I think you could you'd have done really much better if you had like the Supergirl like orchestral theme going through like because that's like kind of like like you're in the POV of the main
Mhm.
you know of
Yeah.
Ruthie
Yeah.
and she's seeing kind of like what car can do
Yeah.
and that's something like the like to compare like you know when the in Guardians of the Galaxy when they are breaking out of the kiln, you know, and you see the team kind of join up for the first time.
Mhm.
That kind of like swelling moment, in or the
Yeah.
Avengers, you know, theme
Yeah.
when you see the team like that kind
Mhm.
of emotional swelling moment, and it was
Yeah.
just kind of taken out with the whole cover.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I agree with you. I felt like I hate to say this, it felt like at times like a pale or it felt like someone trying to do James Gunn's Guardian of the Galaxy, like Guardian of the
yeah,
Galaxy almost in a weird way.
yeah,
And it was like it felt like a pale imitation of that. Because it had like, oh, it's got weird aliens. Like, you know, we did that in James Gunn, and they're into the Star Wars Cantina bar right now. And that's you know, it's like,
right,
okay, you know, there's a lot of that where it's like, okay, I agree with you. I felt like the colors were really muted, and I didn't like that. I thought the special effects were fine, but it was like, let me see it. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
so
I think it
dark
needed.
and Mhm.
I'm sorry, keep going.
I was gonna say it's so dark in some of those shots. I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool, I guess. Like I thought, you know, uh,
I feel like
it
the overall
missed,
creative direction was off of it,
yeah, a
like
little
the
bit.
whole thing.
Yeah, which I will say it sounds like, you know, Gunn kept his hands off of it though, like, you know, because I think that would've been because Gunn's films are typically pretty bright, and I
Yeah,
don't think you know what I mean? So it sounds like he's letting directors be directors, which is something
which
that
is fine.
Marvel does not let them do. Marvel, like, you bring
Mhm.
them in kind of like to do a little bit of character interaction, but, you know, overall, like, they have their vision of how it's gonna be shot, and you just kinda gotta fall in line, basically. Um
The
yeah,
Marvel
I
way.
mean yeah, the Marvel way. You know, you know, definitely have some my biggest criticism, ironically enough, is the final scene where, you know,
That was not I did not like that as well.
where
Yes.
it's the whole time she's, like, saying, like, "Don't kill, don't kill, don't kill," to Ruthie, "It's gonna make you regret life," and then she's like, "Oh, kill you." I'm like,
You're right.
"What?" And I
Yeah,
get it. I get it, like, in the sense, like, well, she did it so that she wouldn't have to do it, that she's already crossed that line and might as well just, like, take this pain onto herself because she doesn't want this poor girl to have to face it. I don't agree with it.
I don't Superman or just I just it's like
Yeah.
super people don't kill, and
Yeah.
that just rubs me the wrong way. I mean, especially when you in this maybe it was a way to show like, "Hey, this is she's so different from Superman. She
Superman,
actually
yeah.
kills because the whole Superman movie was like him very against killing. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Well, and it's funny
that
because
just
like,
rubbed me
they
the
even
wrong way.
I was reading an interview with the screenwriter, and she was like, "Yeah, we" you know, I'm like, "You missed the ending." She's like, "Yeah, in the book, you know, we reversed it because it was Ruthie who does it. We wanted Supergirl to do it, so" well, did you read the book? Because Ruthie doesn't kill her at the
Ruthie
or
doesn't
kill
kill him,
Krem.
yeah.
She doesn't kill him. She hit
She knocks
in
him
so
out.
yeah, so in the book, what ends up happening after they beat Krem essentially is that basically they throw him into the Phantom Zone, which is a prison-like dimension where Kryptonians would throw their prisoners in there, and it's a horrifying, horrible, just evil place that just pain and suffering, and you come out like if you get out, either you are broken or you are a better person because you're like, "Oh my god." And so that's what happens. Essentially, like 300 years later, Krem comes out and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I was a piece of S. All I did was think about how bad what I did to you. I'm so sorry. Please, please, please forgive me. I'm sorry." He comes out like a better person. Not a better person,
Right.
but like he comes out like I I
Remorseful.
remorseful. And Ruthie, to her credit, she's old at this point. She just smacks him over the head with her cane and walks off. And you see him, like, you see it, like, in Tom King says, no, it's pretty unambiguous. Like, you see him grab his forehead, like, oh,
Right.
and then, like, passes out. Like, he doesn't die. And so the fact that the screenwriter misread that and no one corrected her on, like, that's the thing. It's like, did no
Yeah, no
one
one
else
credit
catch that?
yeah.
You know, I was like, that's where I was like, that's where I think, like, not an Easter egg, but like a plot point, but even cool, where it's like, "Hey, we beat him. What are we gonna do with him?" She's like, "Well, it's funny you should mention that. I've got a little dimension we're gonna kick his ass into." And, like, you literally kick him into the dimension, the Phantom Zone, and then you do a denouement, which is, 20, 40, 50 years later, whatever, which is an older Supergirl or Superwoman at this point, and Ruthie, and he comes out, he's like, "Oh my god, what did I do? I'm so s"
Yeah.
and you could literally have that ending, and it's like, that way she doesn't break the moral code of Superman, which is do not kill or, and you still get, like, satisfaction. You know what I mean?
Or
Like, honestly go ahead.
even give him to Lobo. Have
Yeah, that's
Lobo
true too.
come up and be like, "Hey, I actually have another bounty," or, like, I'm sure
Yeah.
I can get some money for him, and it's a little bit of justice that way. You don't,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. He goes to prison or whatever. It's
or
fine.
just
It's like
leave him to
yeah.
ambiguous to what Lobo has done to
Yeah.
him. So it's like,
I that was my biggest complaint. I was actually shocked. I'm like, "What?" I'm like,
yeah,
it kinda caught me off guard. I was like, "I don't agree with that." Like, I actually that's like I fundamentally had a problem with that. Like, as for Supergirl as a character to do that. And like I said, when I read that, like, the screenwriter was like, "Oh, yeah, we reversed it, this so it wasn't Ruthie." I was like, "But Ruthie didn't kill her."
yeah,
Like,
it
did
like
you read the book?
completely reversed it.
Yeah, like, that's maybe that's what she meant. Maybe so we completely reversed it, and instead of Ruthie not killing her, we had Superman or Supergirl that was like, "Oh god, no." So, I mean, like I said,
That was the wrong
that's
choice to
it
me.
was I felt like that was the wrong choice. Like I said, I there you can, piss and moan about, like, whether it's too many needle drops or the wrong songs or color and all that. Those are all aesthetic pro choices for the most part. Like, aesthetically, like, it's like, you take it or leave it. You can't really argue aesthetically. So you can, but whatever. But, like, a fundamental character shift like that I had an issue
Yeah,
with. Like, that was the thing I had the biggest, like, complaint about. Um Overall, though, like I said, other than that, I was like, "Oh, it's pretty." She was pretty in line with at least how the book represents Supergirl, and I was like, I was fine with most of the other stuff.
yeah,
Um,
just tripped at the finish line.
yeah, well, and it's funny too because in the book, the other thing I kinda had an issue with was, like, this poor girl's, like, dad dies, and, she's like, "Hey, I want your help," and, like, Supergirl's, "No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna help you. Not gonna." "Oh, my dog's dying? Well, I'm gonna help you now." It's like, "Oh, but it's
Yeah,
okay." It's like a father died, but
right,
your dog is sick, which is funny because in the comic, like, you find out that um, the dog was always fine. Like, Crypto,
right.
while he did get shot with the arrow, the veterinarian's able to, like, fix him, and it's fine, and she's like, "Well, wait a minute, what? Why did you do that?" Then she's like, I wanted to be on this adventure with you because I wanted to teach you a lesson. That was the
Yeah,
point of the book, was to teach her, like, vengeance isn't needed. It will kill you from inside. And it was like the dog didn't matter. I knew where he was the whole time. Like, I'm Supergirl. I'm
right.
that literally she says, like, "Do you think I couldn't find him if I didn't want to find him?" You know what I mean? Like, I'm Supergirl. And I wish there was a little bit more of that energy in this. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like, I would have liked that a little bit more. Um like I said, I think they were fine up until that point, but then, like you said, tripped at the finish line a little bit right there. But
And I think it's a tough source material to
to
adapt,
adapt, yeah. Yeah,
just
yeah,
story-wise, but also, expectation-wise.
yeah, it's true. Well, you said there's so many people consider this to be the Supergirl story. And I get it, like, as a filmmaker, you don't wanna just, like, do a one-to-one representation of, like, the book. If that's the case, just read the book. You don't need the movie
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point. But I think that, when you're adapting things from one medium to another, there's certain things that you kinda have to understand at the core. What is the core of
yeah,
this? You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it's funny, yeah, I do think, like, some of the stuff they did, like, and I just kinda complained that the book was too long and decompressed, and, there was some stuff in the book that I wish had been included, like, a little bit more of their side adventure. I know that they're on a ticking clock. You have 3 days to find the cure
yeah,
or else the dog's gonna die. But I did like some of the stuff that they did, like, when they go there's, like, a planet that murdered half its population, and Supergirl uncovers it and goes bananas. Like, I liked a lot of that stuff that was in the book,
mhm.
and I wish we had seen a little bit more of that in the movie. But I get it, like, they couldn't they had just like, "We gotta get from point A to point B to point C, gotta keep this movie under 2 hours because we gotta get as many screenings as possible," you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing too, so, like, if they do you think it would have been better if they made it into an HBO show
Mhm.
and then, like, adapted the book more like that, where they're going to different planets like that?
Anytime if you have to budget for it and you can do it as like that, like an 8 episode miniseries, you
Mhm.
should. For example, and the best example of this is the Eternals movie.
Yeah.
That Eternals movie was like, "Oh, cool, 5 minutes of each character, and then they all come together, and then there's this weird battle, and who cares at the end." The Eternals movie should have been a 10 episode maxi series on Disney Plus. And this is a I'm not gonna usually say this because I don't like most of the Disney Plus stuff. I think that most of it should be movies, but each episode should have been focused on one
Yeah. One
character, and then
Eternal.
at the end, they come together in the Eternals and then fight and all this stuff kinda goes together. This movie would have benefited from that same kind of
Mhm.
treatment, whether it was this or The Watchmen or whatever, you know? I think yes, I think it would have worked best as like an HBO, like, Peacemaker kinda series, you know?
And so, with that though, and we've talked a little bit about the fan reaction. Like,
Mhm.
let's just talk about, like, the elephant in the
Yeah,
room type of thing. Just because,
we'll get it
like,
out there. I mean, it's like
nerds
yeah,
are great, but nerds are also horrible
the
people.
worst, yeah. Uh,
Like,
we know, we can smell our own.
yes, yes, yeah. It's some of the takes on this movie and just some of the backlash before the movie even came
Even
out,
came
like
out, yeah.
making fun of how the the
Millie
actress
Alcock.
looked. Yeah,
Yeah, I was really over that.
and just it's and then people just be
Fuck
like, just really.
Fuck you, Dean Cain, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, God, Dean Cain. I don't
Yeah.
notice how nobody really talks about him
Well, he has to
too
insert
much
himself in
unless,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. He has to insert
If you
himself into
wanna see
something.
how masculine Dean Cain is, look at his, like, his ice or, like, when he did that
Yeah,
training
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah, let's just, yeah, but,
Moving on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he's
I
just
mean,
mad
I
because he
saw
wasn't in the movie.
probably. Well, and it's funny, like, especially when you're a steward of the character, like, you look at, like, Leonard Nimoy, who was a steward for was like Spock, and, for lack of a better word, Bill Shatner with Kirk or whoever,
Mhm.
gotta get the Star Trek reference, and, they become,
Ding.
like, ambassadors for yeah, exactly. They have to become ambassadors for the character, and it's like, you could be an ambassador for one of the greatest pop culture icons of all time, and instead you try to double down on shittiness. And it's like,
Yeah.
you could literally it's like, there's a reason Christopher Reeves, after, like, even when he broke his neck, he was still, like, Superman for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because he was a good dude and, like, he represented that. He understood, like, who the character was and what he meant to people. Look at Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, you know?
Mhm.
Well, there's a reason we all love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, even when it's a
Mark Hamill.
badass movie. Mark Hamill as Luke or whoever. It's like they become ambassadors, and, like, the people that aren't, like, y that's your choice, man. You could have had a legacy with that. You could have been a part of
Yeah.
that legacy, you know? That's what I'm saying. Even Cavill, it's like I don't necessarily like most of the movies, but I never had a problem with Cavill as the Man
Yeah,
of
no, I
Steel.
think he was a great Superman. I think,
Even Ben Affleck, I'm like, Ben
yeah.
Affleck's fine, but God love him, he was swinging for the fences in that role, you know what I mean? At no
Yeah.
point was at no point was he like, "Oh god, I'm Batman." It's like, no, he was legitimately trying, you know what I mean? And
He's
it's
just a
like
bad story, bad director, but
yeah,
still he was good. Like, he seemed like he understood the character better than the screenwriter or,
yeah.
like, the movie.
Supposedly, there's footage of him, like, rewriting the script in the bat suit trying to fix the dialogue, like,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not, but it's supposedly a rumor. Well, and speaking of those characters, like, Millie Alcock as Supergirl, I thought she was great. I think
I
she's
think
a
she was really
I think
good.
she yeah, she's a great actress, you know what I mean? Like, I loved her in, was it House of Dragon when she
Yeah.
was the young was it whoever it was? I forget the character's name, but,
Rhaenyra.
like yeah. I enjoyed her as Supergirl, like, I'm looking
I
forward
thought
to
she was
see her
great.
yeah, I'm looking forward to see
She
what they do next with her, you know?
Yeah, she's very emotional, but also funny, and also,
Yes,
like, she had
strong,
that, swagger a little bit too.
uh-huh,
Like, do you know who you're messing with? Like, once I get some, like,
yellow sun energy, you're in
some
trouble,
yellow
dude.
sun energy, like, you're done, man. Like, I'm a Kryptonian, and, like, she had the emotional part too,
Uh-huh,
being on Krypton and the whole, like,
yeah,
"Can I stay with you?" type of thing.
yeah,
That's very powerful stuff.
yeah, I really enjoyed her, and like I said, I'm looking forward to see her in the next I can't wait to see her interactions with Clark a little bit more because I enjoyed
More,
those
yeah.
interactions, those back and forths when we did have them together. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing her interact with, like, Nathan Fillion as, Guy Gardner or,
That would
Metamorpho
be
or
amazing.
whoever else she ends up with. I can't wait to see how they play off each other.
Yeah, I
Um,
like how yeah, her back and forth with, like, Superman is, like, everybody it's like everybody who knows Clark
yeah.
himself, um, kind of treat him like Clark. Like, Lois
Mhm.
kinda treats him as, like, treats Superman as Clark Kent,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So it's like,
Yeah.
he's not on a pedestal, which it's even more so for Kara because
Mhm.
she's like, "Yeah,
"Dude,
you're
you're my
like,
cousin."
you're my cousin, but also I'm like, I'm just as strong as you, or sometimes,
Mm.
in some cases stronger, depends on
Mhm.
who's writing. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, yeah, you've assimilated, and you're kind of like, you're
Yeah.
still beneath me a little bit. She has like a little
Mhm.
bit like
The
she's on a
Kryptonian
better,
arrogance.
yeah, the
Well,
arrogance, and
we
it's
said before, man, Kryptonians are arrogant to their own detriment.
for real. Like, again, if you don't believe us, listen or read All Star Superman. Um,
Or any of the
but
Superman books.
Yeah, but I mean, just it's like she doesn't put him on a pedestal at all, and I
No.
think that's a good dynamic compared to everybody else that puts him on a pedestal,
I
like a
mean,
high
including us,
pedestal.
like, "Oh my god, that's Superman.
Yeah,
There's a man who's flying right there," you know?
right. Or yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like he's
Yeah.
the hero of heroes a little bit.
Yeah,
So
he is.
it's
He
just
is
kind
no,
of
he absolutely that is an absolute true statement. He is the
mm,
hero of heroes, and I do mean that because he is
yeah,
essentially the first superhero, and he is the greatest of them all, and he's the best of them all. You know what I mean?
right,
That's the thing is he's the reason we put him on a pedestal and we make him the pinnacle because he is. He is the best.
yeah,
Everything else is a version of him or a take on him, whether it's like the Sentry or Batman or Hyperion or whoever. It's all like they're just takes on that. You know what I mean? And he is the best. And like you said, she doesn't see him that way. She's like, dude, you're my cousin. Like essentially, oh, you're
yeah.
my annoying cousin. God, you're such a dork.
Or
You know what I
even
mean?
like you're Kryptonian and you're wasted on here. Basically, it's
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I did like her. I do have a question though. Did you? I think we kind of did talk about this a little bit, but what did you feel about her being that sort of dark, brooding Supergirl? Did you like that, or did you want a little more levity, or were you fine with it?
I think in the movie there was a little bit. It was a okay mix. I think
Yeah.
of course, she started out with the whole binge drinking broodiness, but it
Mhm.
wasn't. I didn't think it was overpowering. I don't think it was like
Yeah.
a full character trait. I think she was just on her, like, it
Mhm.
was her birthday, so she's a little bit depressed that, like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
and
man, mom and dad are
with the
dead.
flashbacks, it's
Yeah.
just kind of like
And it
maybe
happened
that's
within like
her
5 years.
remembering.
You know. You know.
Yeah, just her remembering. Yeah, exactly. And essentially, yeah, it seemed pretty recent for her, so it's
Mhm.
still kind of like there.
Mhm.
Um, and she's still trying to find her footing. Like, she seemed more at home
Mhm.
on her spaceship going around to different planets than she is
Yeah.
on Earth. So
Mhm.
I I thought it was okay. Like, again, I didn't feel like it was overpowering, and I do understand it. And there,
Yeah.
she did have some levity, which was fine. But
Yeah, I got a
that was
little
it.
annoyed with, like, the all constantly when it's, like, the constant hearing the crinkle of, like, aluminum cans in her spaceship. I'm like, "Okay, we get
Oh,
it.
yeah.
She drinks."
Yeah.
It was, like, a little too heavy-handed at the top. I'm like, "Okay, like, the we okay. Oh, there it is again." Like, there it oh, it's like, "Okay, we get it. Like, just let's pull it back a little bit," but,
Mhm.
whatever. Um, what did you think of E. Ridley? She played Ruthie, the young girl who sends, Supergirl on this adventure to
Right.
find the man who killed her father, or
With her
family in this
her,
case.
her
It was
family, yeah, and her special sword and everything.
yeah,
No, I thought the actress was really good.
yeah,
And I mean, she did well. The character, what was weird to me in the character, like, what, like, you're a family that kind of makes swords
weapons,
and weapons, and but you
yeah,
know,
I
like,
thought the
great,
same
like, you don't have, like, can't fight at all. Like, you just have
yeah.
that sword on your back for just hanging out. Like,
It's funny. I was thinking more like, it's like, for all like the what was it? It was just it was weird. It's like, "Oh, you're against all this stuff," but it's like, "Wait, your dad makes swords." Like,
Yeah,
wait a minute here. Yeah, she's a little different than she is in the comic, you know, I found the comic she's a little bit more strong-willed. It felt like this version of the character was a little bit weaker, and,
yeah,
there's almost like a blind devotion to finding this guy in the book that kinda got missed in the story a little bit. I feel like, yeah, and it's there and it's not bad, but it's just it felt a little bit more focused in the book, and I felt like she was also a stronger character in the book. Like, she was gonna do what she was gonna do regardless if Supergirl was there or not. But, you know,
and
that's
in the
I
book
thought the actress
compared
was
to the
good.
yeah, yeah, and compared to the book though too, like the book, she was more of was it a more sophisticated
Yes.
naivete
Yeah.
that
Yes.
worked well for the character that wasn't really in this one. She was again
Yeah.
more a little bit like
Yeah. She
still
definitely was
naive and still like,
she just seemed
you
almost
know,
minor or in comparison to Supergirl. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's Supergirl's movie,
well,
and
yeah.
I mean,
I mean, yeah, the movie wasn't called Ruthie.
yeah,
So,
that's true. Oh, here's another thing I forgot. We were talking about the things we didn't like and like. I was actually shocked that there's a scene where you know the brides, one of the Supergirl gets betrayed, which by
yeah,
a family who's trying to get their daughter back, and the dude just kills all three of them, the daughter and the parents. I was actually shocked that they did that. I was like, oh, you're not even going to let the daughter live. Like that's.
right.
I was actually shocked that they had the balls to like just go for that. It's like, oh yeah, interesting. That said, that scene, I was like, clearly you're about to get betrayed. I'm surprised. You know, like it was so obvious. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you're about to get betrayed. Okay,
Like,
come
why
on,
are you
come on.
drinking? Why are you drinking the tea?
Yeah,
Like, it's
I
obviously
actually
it's
thought
drugged.
I was like, I thought actually she was like, oh, faking it. Like, yeah, I know it's drugged.
Mhm.
I'm just pretend. I thought I was waiting for that to happen. Like, oh no, you just went into a hook, line, and sinker. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Um, well, this brings us to the main man,
The
Jason Momoa as
main
Lobo.
man.
Man, what did you think of Jason Momoa as Lobo?
Now, see, this is gonna be a little bit of a hotter take.
Hot
So
take. Ooh, I love
just
this. Here it comes.
I don't know. I think Jason Momoa's Aquaman was a better Lobo than his Lobo was in
Is as a Lobo?
Supergirl.
Yeah, I get that. I
Like,
get that.
yeah, like the whole like my man, like that's Lobo, and
Yeah,
stuff that he was doing in Aquaman. He was more like he definitely was fun, and he was definitely like
yeah.
he just like the whole. You don't need to be constant like it seemed like he was a little uncomfortable with the cigar.
Well, the
Like it was too
cigar and the
much
prosthetics
with the
and
prosthetics and
the
his
fake,
coat.
abs or whatever the heck that is, like, I'm like, "Those aren't real abs, those are, like, not real abs." It's like,
Yeah.
"That looks like a yeah, a plastic stomach he's wearing." The fake cigar was definitely off-putting. I'm like, "That looks like literally just like a cardboard tube with a light on the end."
Yeah, and he kept doing it. It's like we get that he has that a lot, but,
Yeah.
not even in the comics, he has it, like, all the time. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
but, like, so, like but he was I mean, this was a role that he wanted from the start, and he was having a lot of fun with it,
Yeah.
and so I just thought, his Aquaman is a better Lobo than his Lobo was.
That's fair, I can see that. That's and I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's a legitimate
Mhm.
take, and I think it's a good take. I definitely think I enjoyed him. I know my kid did. My kid loved the hell out of him.
Mhm.
I thought
Well, 'cause he has he
for
seen the episode and, like, that's one of my
oh,
favorites,
yeah.
like, Superman animated series,
Oh, he absolutely owns
episodes
him.
of
Yeah.
Lobo. It's so
Oh,
good.
yeah, I even bought the Lobo compendium. It's like 1,000 Lobo pages of Lobo comics, and my kid's like,
Mhm.
"Can we read that?" I'm like,
Ooh, I don't know, man.
maybe when you're a little bit older." He kills super he was like, "He fights Santa Claus?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll lean into that a little bit, buddy. You're still a little too young to read Lobo comics."
Yeah.
Um that said, like I think he's better in this role than he was in Aquaman. Although I do agree with your point, like he was a better Lobo as Aquaman than he. I do see that point, but I
Mhm.
think he's better suited for Lobo than he was suited for Aquaman. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
his Aquaman was very dude bro, whereas like Aquaman in the comics is a
Yeah.
king. You know, the
Right.
man is a king and is regal and eloquent and literally the protector of the 7 seas, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the yes, I actually kind of agree with you 100%. But I do think he's better in this role, and I think if, they continue down this path, he'll probably finally they'll dial him in a little bit better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
It may just come down to the director.
yeah, it might have, it might like also he had all that crap on his body and then, it's like, just getting used to
Yeah,
it's like, it's like Colin Farrell with the penguin makeup, man. He hated that, even though he was
he did,
great
but
in
he was
that.
so good.
So good, so good.
You don't
Um,
know that's Colin Farrell.
yeah, yeah, you really don't. What did you think of the guy who played Krem and and for that matter, the rest of the brigands? I have
Uh,
thoughts. I have not good thoughts,
yeah,
but I
I
have
mean, he
thoughts.
was fine, but he was just generic bad guy.
Dude, yeah,
It was just a bad guy. There was not really any depth to him.
not at all.
No, I mean,
Motivation,
no
no.
motivation. I mean, yeah, he was just what's
Yeah,
there was with the cat test or something like that too. They even did with him um shooting the dart to crypto. Like it was like you to show that bad guy's a bad guy, you have him like injure an animal or
yeah, an
something.
intro an animal. Yeah, shoot the dog, pat the dog. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So he's just. I mean, he looked cool, but I mean, it's just kind of like, oh, okay.
I thought
So
yeah, I thought his character design was cool for sure. I thought the actor was doing fine and having fun, like, in the role. Like, a lot of the stuff that
yeah,
choices he made, I was like, "That was cool." Like, 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 he grabs, "Is that pie?" And, like, he, like, lets half of it
yeah,
drip off on the plate before he starts eating. I'm like, a lot of those, like, acting decisions, I thought he did a good job with. As a character, though, like, I found him, like you just said, completely generic, no motivation, like, "Oh, he's evil just to be evil." Kinda going back to what I was saying earlier about him killing the daughter and the 2 parents, like, there was no reason to do that. I'm shocked that they did that because it's like, "Oh, wow," like, that's not lighthearted at all. Usually, like to your point, you leave the daughter alive and, like, like, she can deal with the consequences of her parents' actions or like, nope, he just murdered them. It was like and
yeah,
for no reason, especially since the fact that he needs these daughters to sell or to use as brides or whatever. It's like, they're a commodity. You just killed, like, a what is your essentially
the
your
cargo. Yeah,
livelihood. Yeah, your cargo. Um, yeah, I and the same with the Brigands. I'm like, "Oh, these are like generic Ravagers from Guardians of the Galaxy." Like, they you know what I mean? Like,
they
the
needed
Ravagers
like
had
a
more
main
character,
bad
more
guy.
yeah. Well, and the thing is, if you go back to the source material, you go back to, like, the actual Woman of Tomorrow book, his motivation is that he's actually going to the dad to find out whether or not he's loyal to their king of the land, and when the dad says something, I forget if it was, like, he offends him or
He
something happens, and it results in him like, "Oh, F you,"
made
and
a
he
joke
kills
or
him.
something.
Yes. And then it's like and then it spawns this whole thing off from there, but it's like, that's a motivation, like, you can understand, like, where, like, it kind of all it kinda goes out of control. This guy's just like, "Oh, I'm crazy guy, and I want this sword for some weird reason, and then I'm just gonna put it in the bathroom." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, that's where literally it ends up is in the fucking bathroom. It's like, "Okay, that was it?"
and yeah. I guess like the whole thing was just like him and the brigands were
Yeah,
gathering up women to try to repopulate, kind of like sex slaves and stuff, which I understand that's horrible and stuff, but it's like
yeah. Well, that is horrible, but
it's horrible, but he was definitely henchman bad guy,
yeah,
not main
yeah,
bad guy. Like
yeah, there's
he's the number 2,
yeah.
not the number 1 guy.
Oh, emphasis on number 2. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, speaking of, like, the that was one thing I actually did kind of was like, I'm like, when I'm like, the brides are all in this cage in the ship, and when the ship gets, like, basically shot down, starts rolling down a hill and is exploding, I'm like, there's a bunch of, like, defenseless women in a cage that's rolling down a hill in an exploding ship. Are we forgetting about them? Oh, we forgot the
Right.
brides. I'm like, no, they're mush now. They're pancakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh no, they're fine. They pull them out and they're okay. I was like, no, no,
Mm.
that's not what should have happened. They should have all died. I hate to say that. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just like just the physics of it.
Right.
It's like, well, it kind of even goes back to what I was thinking too earlier. It's like when Supergirl eventually kills him with just a sword. It's like she just drove him through the ground, and he had like you know what I mean, like, but a sword killed
Yeah.
him. Like, like
Well, it was
whatever.
a really good sword.
I guess so. I'm really super sharp. Yeah, I found him to be like as an actor, fine. I thought the character design, fine. As a villain, like with motivation and pathos and all that, whatever. Nah. It's like it's like you could have spent some time developing, and I mean, we don't wanna, like, have, like, oh, sympathy for our villain, but we wanna know what their reason is,
What's the
not just
motivation?
because
Yeah.
yeah, not just because they want a sword that they can put in the bathroom, whatever. Um, yeah, anyway. What did you think of, Kara's parents, or Kara's parents, excuse me? Zoran
I thought they were great.
yeah,
I'm always a fan of David Krumholtz.
yeah, he
I
was
think
great, he was good.
anything he's in, he's really good, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean,
Yeah.
and to do all that in Kryptonese is
Yeah,
pretty harsh. So I
yeah.
think both of them knocked it out of the park. I think so.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. Like I said, I called it out earlier. I like the fact that called out his brother. I'm like, oh, there goes Jor-El sending his kid to go be a conqueror. Oh, stupid son of a b.
Yeah, well, and I like too, like he was just like, you use your powers for good. Like
Yeah,
you're gonna do use them to help people,
yeah. Be good.
and
You don't have to be nice, but be
right,
good. That was
but
the
be
mom's
good. Yeah,
message.
yeah. The
And
mom's
I
message,
like,
but like his
yeah,
message to her was like, you're gonna have powers on the system. Do use them to help people who can't help themselves, and like, I mean
yeah,
that's kind of motivates her to help Ruthie.
yeah.
But
Which makes sense in the comic. Like she's in the comics, like, yeah, it was the whole time I was going to do that. I was just using this other stuff as like as to fool you basically into doing this. I was trying to teach her a
yeah,
lesson. Whereas this one, she's like, she had to learn the lesson herself. Which again,
yeah.
I guess it makes sense. It's her movie and all that. But I digress. Um,
Well,
where?
well,
Good.
just well before we kind of go like kind of
Yeah.
future of DC, like what are your final thoughts of the movie? Um, like
Sure. Yeah.
like
Yeah. I again. I thought it was perfectly fine.
yeah,
Not great, but not bad by any stretch of the imagination. I think that, we mentioned, I think the fan reaction has been really bad. And look, you want to love the film, that's fine. You want to hate the film, that's fine. But to like just just be bashing the film, like, before you've even seen it, like, or like I said today, like when I walked in the shop, I was just like, oh man, did you see that turn? I'm just like, the hell are you talking about? Like,
yeah.
you
Come
wanting
on,
to
man.
jump on the bandwagon and be like, yeah, I'm part of the cool guys, dunk it on this. Like, get out of here. Like, it reminds me, Kevin Smith, he did, and I saw an interview with him recently. It's probably a few years old at this point, but he was talking about, like, he recently had like a health scare, and one of the guys like talking to him was like, "Oh, what about these bad movies?" Like, dude, I will talk to you all day about things that I liked, things that I loved, things that are cool, things that are awesome, but I'm not going to waste my time on things that I think are bad. There's not enough time on this planet to just sit
Yeah,
there and shit on things. And that's kind of how I feel. It's like, if you didn't like it, then, vote with your wallet. Just don't
yeah,
watch it, man. Don't be like, it's like this rage bait and this extreme, like, reactionary stuff that we see on the internet. It's like it's too much, man. If you don't like it, then you can just say, didn't like it, I'm not gonna watch any more of it.
yeah.
Great. Get it.
Funny
Cool.
enough too, because we talked about the similarities with like Spider-Man and Supergirl. Like this kind of has the same kind of rhetoric with the Spider-Man 1000 cover,
Oh, the cover,
the
yeah, yeah.
GRGR
I think it's
cover.
funny,
Just
to be honest. I don't
no,
think
I
it's a
think
good
it's
cover, but
fun.
it's funny. It's funny. It's like, oh,
No, no, yeah, but I'm just saying the fan rhetoric of like how they just like I guess Marvel's pulling it or something, and it's just
oh,
like kind
they're
of like
pulling it now? Oh, no
yeah, that's
kidding.
I've heard that. I could
There's
have
no
be
way
having
they're gonna. I
wrong
think they've
info.
tripled down at this point.
Yeah, but it's again, it's voting with your wallets, but also just like the vitriol against it. Like you
No,
not like it, but like
then don't buy it. There
yeah,
will be a dozen other covers. Trust me.
there are dozen other
Yeah.
covers, and they're all
Yeah.
awesome. I think. And
Yeah, I mean,
hey,
I've
was
seen
this
some
a
of them.
miss? This is a miss for GRJ. That's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But like he's already done some of the most iconic Spider-Man covers anyway.
Yeah,
So it's like, hey,
absolutely. And, again, I think it's, that's how I feel about this movie. It's like, it's like, if you don't like it, that's fine, man. You're totally
yeah,
entitled. And if you want to get on the internet and go piss and moan about it, man, that's your thing too. I just think that, we could use with a healthy amount of, like, just knock the shit off, man. Just knock it
yeah,
off. Like, we don't need it. We don't need that. This world is hard enough right now as it is. I don't need to have you bombing on me like, "Oh god, Millie Alcock is the worst, and Supergirl's, oh
yeah,
man, how dare they make a strong female character that I can't identify with." Like, get out of here. It's like, you know what? If we, it's like, yeah, yeah, I don't need to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't care to hear it. Like I said, and I really do agree with Kevin Smith in that regard. It's like, you know what? Like, there's plenty of other stuff I can talk about that I did enjoy, that I
Yeah.
did like. And there's things, like I said, there is valid criticisms for the movie. You know what I mean? There
Yeah.
is definitely valid criticism, and there's things I didn't like. As a movie, though, I enjoyed it. If I did not like this movie, though, we wouldn't be doing this podcast. I would have told you, Josh, we're not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I've
Yeah.
been just like not having it. It's one of the reasons, like, in you'll look at most of the books we've done, it's all been books that we've enjoyed. Yeah, we'll shit on people every once in a while because it's fun to bend us. But like overall, like we try and like at least be critical or offer some kind of positive critique on it, or at least do books that we enjoy. Like I'd rather focus
Yeah.
on a book that I love so much that you should read it too. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
my yeah.
this is all, like, our recommends, like, we got
Yeah.
issues, but we
Yeah, we
got
do have
issues
issues.
with, that we like,
Yeah. Well, original titles, We Got the Runs, but then I realized that probably didn't work, like the comic runs. But anyway, what about you, John?
What? That's what you mean? No. No,
What are
I
what were
and
your
I
thoughts?
echo all your thoughts on it. I do. I think it was a fine movie. It wasn't great, wasn't horrible. It
Yeah.
was a fun movie to
Yeah.
see. It
Yeah.
was a good reason to go to the movie theater, I think.
Yeah.
There are some stuff I think I would have done differently, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's not something that, a lot of the discourse online,
Yeah.
because again, like, even for people who are like, "I really love it," and then if you don't like it, then what, you're very sexist or something. Like, if you have a criticism of it, you're sexist stuff. It's like,
Well,
it depends on the criticism, of course, but it's also like,
yeah, that's true
it's
too.
not there's not everybody's doing blanket statements instead of,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, they're looking at the forest and not really paying attention to the trees.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. A few months back, I ran into some guys. I was at the comic shop, and we were chatting about it, and we were saying the same thing. It's just like we unfortunately live in a world of like polar opposites, where it's like I said this earlier. It's like it's one or the other. And it's like we don't allow for just general like, hey, like this is good, but it's not great. It's like A plus or F minus, and it's like no, there are shades in between of gray. There's C pluses, there's B minuses, there's A minuses, there's Fs, there's Ds. There's things you
Yeah.
can like and there's things you don't like. I know you're not a big fan of it, but like the Moon Knight series, for example, like I enjoyed it. If I probably went back, I'd probably have a little more criticism for it. But when I watch it, like I like Oscar Isaac so much that I'm willing to give a lot of what he does a pass. I'm like, I enjoyed a lot of the Moon Knight series. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or even like when I saw Thor 4, like I remember when I watched Thor 4 in the movie theater, like I had a blast. Like maybe it was just because I was with like a bunch of like G4 alums, and it was like me and Cassim and like Vanessa Guerrero, and we were just like
Mhm.
rolling, like literally rolling out of the theater. Like that was the funniest thing I'd ever saw in my life. It was so funny. And then I get like everyone like hated it. I'm like, oh, whoa, did I watch the wrong movie? you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I it's like, I've since tried to go back and watch. I'm like, yeah, I get the concerns that people had. I get it. But sometimes it is just that thing. It's like just the audience you're with, you know what I mean? And if yeah, I remember, like I said, I saw a movie, Pain and Gain. Did you ever see Pain and Gain with The Rock and
Yeah,
Marky
yeah,
Mark?
yeah.
Michael Bay. I saw it with my friend Ross, and I remember we were
Heh.
like, we were going into the clown that movie. Like, oh, Michael Bay at it again, and we were like, he leans over to me at one point because we saw that the arc light was still around. He leans over to Ross like, dude, is this movie like awesome? Or I'm like, dude, mom, this movie's like awesome. He's like, dude, I'm gonna go get another beer. I'm like, dude, get it. He runs to the bar, comes back with like a couple beers. We're just like cracking a couple, just like watching this movie. And it's like a lot of times the audience, like, it'll, your viewing experience will be enhanced by your company,
That's
and
true, yeah.
sometimes, I mean, like, if you go on someone who's being negative Nelly, you're probably gonna have a bad time. And so it also should tell you, like, who are you seeing these movies with? You know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah,
surround
that
yourself
too.
with some fun people, you know? I mean, like, you and I, we saw was it Wolverine Origins? And we're like,
Yeah.
"Whoa,
That was that whole
that was
night
a
was a
movie."
whole different night, and, like, I think just the whole night was
But that
crazy,
night was
but
that we're not gonna get into here, but that was a night of legends.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
true, yeah.
It was. So, I don't know, maybe that's the thing. If vote with your wallet, and also, like, question who you're watching the movie with. Because
Hmm.
again, like, I watch it with my son, and damn if he didn't have a good time. The whole time he's like,
Yeah.
hey, daddy, who's like, I'm like, dude, you've got to talk in your library voice. You've got to shut up, dude. Like, there's people in front of us. He's like, okay, hey, daddy, is that Loba? I'm like, yes, buddy. Just shh, shh, shh. Okay, okay, okay. Hey, buddy, you got to stop. You
Yeah,
got
yeah.
to stop. Anyway, I digress.
No, but yeah, yeah, I get, yeah. It's again overall, it's. We thought it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's not horrible, and you're what is it? What's this? The experience may vary or whatever.
Yeah,
What's the
your
saying?
experience may vary, your mileage may vary.
Mileage may vary. Yeah, but
Well,
so
here's
let's
the thing.
again. Sorry.
Well, to that end, do you think it's, is it one of those things where people should see it in the theater, wait for it to streaming, or just avoid it? I mean, I don't know, for me, I don't know if you need to see it in the theater. I don't think anything like necessarily is like, "Oh, you
Yeah,
gotta see it," other than just to support a fun cast and support a film and support our movie industry, but I think if you had to, you wait till streaming, that's me.
yeah. I think you for somebody casual,
Mhm.
just just going just to see the movie. I think you're fine with on HBO Max.
Yeah,
Excuse
yeah,
me.
yeah. It's just
It
on the
doesn't
other hand,
add
go ahead.
anything too much. It doesn't add anything too much to see it in the theater.
The only reason I wanted, like, see it in the theaters is because, like, I'm also I wanna support, like, just, like, I like what DC is doing. I like the new and I don't want them to take the wrong messages from these things where,
Right.
"Oh, no. Well, it's clearly, Millie Alcock's the problem. We gotta swap her out for Sydney Sweeney or something." It's like I was like, "No, I don't," you know what I mean? Like, I don't need that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like I don't want them to get the wrong messages from, like, these, like, keyboard fans. Like, it's like that's the only reason I'd be like, "Go see it in the theater and support,
Yeah.
like, this," but that's a whole other it's a whole other discussion.
Hmm. It's a whole other fun discussion. And speaking of whole other fun discussions, with this, and like you said, you just kind of speaking of the future of DCU.
Mhm.
Like, how do you think the future of this cinematic universe is like moving forward? I think like what do we have like in the horizon? We have lanterns, right?
Yeah, yep.
And
Got lanterns,
Clayface,
Clayface,
and the next Superman movie was
yeah,
Superman,
Superman.
Man of Tomorrow.
Well, I hate to say this, and it throws back in your face, but you're the lanterns guy, as we noted in
Yeah,
Rebirth. What is your take on, Kyle
I'm
Chandler and company doing lanterns?
I'm interested to see how they go with it. A lot of people I've talked to about it
Mhm,
aren't really
mhm.
feeling
Are not?
the show, yeah, or not
Uh-huh,
from the trailer, which
mhm.
I don't know. I'm interested to see the take on it. I'm interested to
Yeah,
see what has brought him down in there. I always like a John Stewart type of
yeah.
thing. I like to. It seems like it's a little bit of like a mix of like Justified with
Lethal Weapon?
Training Day,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, Training Day, yeah. It's definitely
And
the buddy cop thing, yeah.
yeah, I'm interested to see how because Guy Gardner's going to be in it, so
Oh,
in
cool.
some way too. So
Well, and I said Lethal Weapon, I didn't mean because we had a white and a black hero, I just simply
oh
mean
yeah,
because it's the original buddy cop is like,
no,
Training
yeah,
Day
yeah, yeah,
hero,
yeah.
Lethal Weapon. Um,
What
interesting.
and
Yeah,
then
go
Clayface,
ahead.
I heard is a lot of people are getting into that because it's more of like a horror movie type of.
Mhm.
So they're kind of doing the whole, they're doing what the MCU does great with is like different types of movies with the comic book
Yeah.
twist. So like this is going to
Well,
be like a body horror movie, which
I
I'm going to tell you right now, I am the biggest wuss when it comes to scary movies, and I don't know if I'll see that in theaters
see
because
that
of it.
there's I will say it's telling, like, we were watching like I said, the trailer came on when we were watching, and my son just instantly puts his hands up in front of his eyes, like, "Is he still looking
Mhm.
at me?"
No,
Because,
yeah,
it starts on that shot of him, in the bandages he's just staring at the camera. My son's like, "Is he still looking?" I'm like, "Yeah, yes, he's let me know
yeah,
when he's done looking." I'm like, "He's still looking, son." Well, man, you're not gonna do well with, The Dark Knight if we ever watch
yeah.
that with Two-Face. Um, yeah. I it's such an odd choice. I was like, "Wait, you're doing Clayface?" And I guess the reason is, like, the script was locked, and like, "Well, we got a locked script, might as well just do it." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Cool," which I kinda like. I'm like, "Yeah, do more of that," you know? You can
Yeah,
shoot it
yeah.
cheap enough and just make something, you know? Again, not everything has to be end of the world and, like, saving the day. It can also just, like
Right.
you said, be, you know, just these things. I'm curious to see how that all pans out, especially since, like, Gunn seems pretty adamant about not getting to Batman until he has to, you know, especially with the Rob, you know, Arbats thing kinda going on the side. It seems like he's leaning away from Gotham and the sort of mythology of that as much, so it's interesting, like, the 3rd film out the gate is gonna be a Batman villain, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And
I don't
then
know. I'm not a body horror guy either, to be honest, but I will say the trailer had me intrigued, you know?
I'm sure, I mean, for people who like that type of movie, they're gonna love it. I just,
Yeah.
again, I'm a wuss. Like, once I saw this, like, horror movie, I'm like, "I'm out. Peace out.
You're all,
Homie, don't
"It's
do that."
I'll read the wiki entry, I'll be good."
Right, right. Homie, don't play that. I'm gonna see that in streaming in the middle
Where I
of the
can
day.
pause, pause, like,
Yeah, with whether it's still light out, middle of the day, all that stuff. Yeah. Homie, don't play that.
that's funny.
And then we got the sequel to like the Superman movie, the Superman and Man of Tomorrow, which we've seen.
Yeah.
I've heard about some like behind the scenes stuff, in uh with Lex is getting his power suit, things like that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
should be good.
I'm all about it. I like the first Superman movie, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
You realize also real quick that this discussion is actually longer than the actual Supergirl movie. We just actually clicked over,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh,
I know.
yeah, I'm all about it. I'm all about, I wanna see an authentic power suit. I absolutely love the design of the Lex Luthor power suit. It's one of my favorite designs in comics. I
Hmm.
love the way that thing looks. I really enjoyed the first Superman movie. I'm glad we're kinda keeping that ball rolling. Again, glad to see Millie Alcock coming back as Supergirl in it. We're gonna see more of that character interaction. Can't wait to see how they continue to build out the DC universe with that film.
And if the rumors are right, which I don't know if they are, but it's the whole bad guy could be Brainiac, which I'm all for. Like,
I
I'm finally
I
we're getting a Superman villain that's not Zod or Lex Luthor.
I was actually
Uh,
shocked we didn't get a little bit of Brainiac, kind of speaking to our Easter eggs thing, that we didn't
yeah,
get a Brainiac. Maybe we did, and I just missed it. We didn't get any Brainiac in, Supergirl. I was expecting that actually,
right.
uh, because, like, we don't need Darkseid, like, to your point, like, we need, you know, it's a Superman villain we really haven't gotten in live action before, you know?
It seems like Superman only has two villains. If you go by all the live action movies, he only has two villains.
Zod and Doomsday, or
Zod, or sorry, three villains. Excuse me, Zod, Doomsday, and Lex Luthor. That's really it,
yeah, that's
and
true,
maybe
yeah.
Bizarro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I still
It
would have
just seems
loved
like
it.
all versions of
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah. I would have loved if the Bizarro version of Superman in Man of Steel, or whatever it was, last Superman, just the last Superman film, had been Henry Cavill. I would have died in my
That would
seat
be
if that had been the
amazing.
case.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool.
Or
Um,
I'm just
okay.
gonna be interesting to see Lex deal with an entity that's smarter than him
Well, not
with
well, yeah.
Brainiac. That's what I mean. So his
Lex
ego.
Luthor versus Lex Luthor versus Doctor Doom. Who has the bigger ego? Go.
Oh yeah. Who knows? Yeah, that's a hard
Oh,
one.
man.
I
That's a
actually think
tough one.
Doom does. I actually think Doom
Probably.
does.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, ultimately, I think Doom does. I mean,
I think because Doom actually wins most of the time too, so that helps
yeah, he
his
wins.
ego.
Yeah, he wins sometimes, and Doom has Doom bots. You know, he's
Yeah.
got a time. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff. For fans, or maybe fans that didn't enjoy the book, or the movie, that wanted to enjoy the movie more, or whatever, what recommended viewing and or reading would you recommend
Do
coming
we
out of this film?
So we talked about the source material. So if you really like the movie, definitely check out the source material. It's kind of
Yeah,
like an extended version of Superman. Oh, sorry, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. That's Tom
and you
King and Bilquis Ibley.
You can get that thing for 9.99. All right, it's like the compact DC
Mhm.
compact edition, $10, any comic shop, Barnes& and Noble, $10. Hell, you can probably get on Hoopla for free if you
I was
wanted
about to
to.
say it's probably on
Yeah,
Libby, Hoopla, and it's
no, I
on
know
the
that,
DC
yeah,
Universe app. So
yeah. But I mean, like, there's no reason to not pick that book up if you're really interested. And again,
Yeah,
it's a very pretty book. I have reservations about it, but overall, like, I
it's
won't
worth
deny
checking
it's
out.
well written. It's definitely worth a read. It's definitely worth a read. It's just, again, if you want to kind of explore more, there's plenty of Supergirl books out there that you can read, like of her previous adventures. Like I said, I'm cutting right through the Peter David run, which isn't technically Supergirl. It's the Matrix, which is this protoplasmic entity that took on
Mhm.
the identity of whatever. It's Supergirl. She's in Supergirl costume. I'm loving it. It's Peter David, Gary Frank, stuff like that. Pizza chef. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I also it was a fun kind of book with Supergirl, and the good dynamic is Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
the Mark Wade one, right?
well, yeah, it started with Mark Wade,
Mark Wade
and
and
like
then
it was the
Tony
middle of
Beard,
his
Legion of
run with
Superheroes one.
Barry Kitson,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's really just it's a fun. I mean,
yeah.
I'm up for anything Legion of Superheroes mostly, so it's a good dynamic too because just the again the original dynamic with Superman and the Legion. So
Yeah.
excuse me.
Another
Um,
book I was gonna say real quick
yeah,
to kind of piggybacking on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow by Tom Keene and Bill Sibley. They did a book together, and they do obviously team up, but they did a book called Helen of Windhorn, which is basically like the daughter of the guy who wrote Conan. It's not that, but it's that. And it turns out like he actually goes on these Conan like adventures, and she goes on adventures with him. It's actually one of my favorite books by Tom King. And again, if you like that beauty and that kind of beautiful language and all that, it's another book to follow up on. I would say check that out as well.
mhm. And just something to watch too. Definitely check out the Justice League Unlimited
Mm,
cartoon and also Superman animated series cartoon because
yeah.
Supergirl has some good parts in that, and it's especially I mean especially the Legion episode with her. I thought it was really good, and it's just a fun depiction and fun use of Supergirl and a lot of that stuff.
I will piggyback on that because, Josh watches all the cartoons, all of
I
them.
do. I do.
He does. And so you can't necessarily take any of his opinions valid because it's like he likes all the cartoons too. I
How
will
dare you?
piggyback on how dare I? Well, it's like me with Star Trek. It's like, I'm gonna try
Yeah.
and criticize, but come on, I like Star Trek. He's absolutely right though. Justice League Unlimited, Superman animated series, all that the Tiniverse or Diniverse or the Timverse, whatever you want to call it, like that stuff is just golden.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, like that first episode of Unlimited, I think it's like you said, it's Green Arrow and Supergirl, like it's great,
And yeah, and Captain Adam. Yeah.
yeah, it's fun stuff. Like I said, my kids are really into it, and it's funny because like I remember buying like the Batman animated series like on Blu-ray, and I started watching like by myself. I'm like, this is weird, but then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna have kids, and when I have kids, they're gonna love this. Of course, now everything's streaming, so it doesn't matter. But I was like, and boy, howdy, was I right, man. He loves that stuff, and it's great watching him watch it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, um,
Nice.
so now we talked about things that people should read if they like the stuff. Let's talk about things that have nothing to do with the
All
book
right.
at all.
That's
What
kind
are
of
you
the
reading
end
this
of
week,
our
Jim?
discussion of like Supergirl and everything. So,
Yeah. Oh,
um,
sorry.
no, no, I was just that's the end of that discussion. So I think
Yeah.
we're just now we're just going on to how we finish each episode with like you
Weekly
said, like you're alluding
recommendation.
to, excuse me, the weekly recommendations and stuff, and
Yes.
like now with you, Brian, what are you reading now right now?
Um, yeah, a lot, but the book I'm going to recommend is Swamp Thing 1989. It's a 4-issue miniseries. The third issue just came out recently. This is a Swamp Thing storyline that was basically done back in like 1989, and DC canceled it and was like, no, we're not releasing this because basically it included Jesus Christ in it, like the Swamp Thing and Jesus is in it. And DC was like, no, we're not taking that chance. We're not gonna have like, people like sending us mail bombs and stuff like that. And they canceled it. And like the writer was like, well, screw you. Like it's writer artist, I think it was Rich Vec. I think it was Rich Vec. Anyway, he was like, I'm not gonna work for you guys ever again until this gets published.
Hmm.
Cut to like now, like essentially 30 plus years later, they're like, hey, you know what? Don't think we're gonna have a problem. Let's go ahead and just release it because it's done. And so they've released the third issue. I've only read the first issue. I have the other two. I'm kind of like, I kind of want to wait for the whole thing to just be done so I can read it all in one shot. The first issue is phenomenal. Like it's one of the
Hmm.
best comics I've read all year. I was like, this is great. So, it does deal with, biblical times and Jesus and the cross and all that. So it's really, really good though. I can't recommend it enough. It's beautiful. It's well written. It could be considered heretical, I mean, very, it's like, but if you can get past that, like it's really a fascinating read.
Hmm.
So yeah, anyway, I'm not even a Swamp Thing guy. That's the other thing too. Is like my Swamp Thing knowledge is pretty light. I have like a rudimentary knowledge at best.
Mhm.
And that said, like I was like, this is captivating. Like I was shocked how good it was. So anyway, I'd throw that out there. But what
Nice,
about you,
interesting.
Josh? Yeah,
What I'm reading now is a fairly new book. I think they only have 2
2
issues
issues.
of it,
Yep.
and there's gonna be a 3rd one, but I really interested in the Barbara Gordon Breakout, which
Yeah.
it's Mariko Tamaki and Amanake Nahopan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just did that horrible,
Sure.
but
That's all right.
it's basically just Barbara Gordon has been arrested and she's put into like the supermax, and
Yeah.
because and it's a prison that is like filled with people who are opposing Vandal Savage, who's the
Yeah.
the commissioner at the
He's
time,
commissioner of
and
Gotham City. Yeah.
yeah, so and she's 'cause and then these people are dying in there, so she's in there trying to figure out what's going on with them.
That's
And
great.
it's very interesting too, because I mean, it's like the Bat girl aspect, and, just and then also like everybody knows she's the
Daughter of
daughter of a very famous
commissioner.
Gotham City cop. So it's that kind of dynamic,
Yeah.
and also just like she's playing a person who's not as or she's just trying to hide that she's Batgirl basically. So she's like
Yeah.
Batgirl in this whole prison thing. So it's trying to suss out stuff that's going on. So it's a really interesting read so far. Like 3rd issue comes out later this month, but it's really
Yeah.
interesting.
It's funny, it's funny you should say that because I have those 2 issues, like, on my stack, and like I said, I try and read, like, the stuff I don't like the most down to the stuff I wanna read the most, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, it keeps getting shifted down because, like, I really wanna read it, but I have, like, stuff I'm like, I don't care as much about. I like eating to dessert, you know what I mean? Like, I like getting,
Yeah,
like, the
yeah.
broccoli out of the way first so that I can get to the, get to the then get to the mashed potatoes, then I get to the steak, and then, like, oh, and then I got dessert at the end. So I kind of always I read the same way. And that's one of those books that just keeps kinda getting pushed down, like, I need to get this out of the way before I get to that.
Mhm.
That said, I like the fact, and this is something Marvel has been missing, I like the fact that, like, they reference it in the other books. They're like, "Yeah, Barbara is out right now, dude." Like, like, I think it's in the Nightwing book, they're straight up just like, "We can't get any analysis on this." So basically, Oracle's not around. Like, she's in prison right now. Yeah, what are we gonna do about that? Well, she says she's on her own. She's got, and I like that it's like it feels again like a shared world. This was something like it's like they're not doing it at Marvel. It's something Marvel used to do really good. They used to keep really tight, like kind of click on like on their edit on their continuity. Like, hey, Hulk can't be in the Avengers book because he's over here. But like literally, it just feels like people are just telling stories, and it doesn't matter where the continuity is. Like, oh, cool. Like, well, I want Doctor Strange on this Avengers team, even though he's not Doctor Strange right now. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like it's
Yeah.
just a jumble over at Marvel. Like, just tell whatever stories. Whereas like it used to be, Stanley kept that stuff like locked in. Same with Roy Thomas and a lot of the other editors. But now it's like, oh, Iron Man's acting shifty, and so we have all the teams. And then it's like, well, Hulk is acting shifty. It's like, well, then why are you teaming up with these characters if they're, you know what I mean? Like it feels like it's a mess. Whereas like DC is like feels like it's really dialed in. Like, okay, you don't necessarily need to read the book, but you need to know that this is happening. Sorry, I digress. I apologize. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, yeah, yeah. It's a fun book.
Yeah, sorry. After all, like,
Fun book.
good. I can't wait to read it
My
then.
recommendation is a fun book.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Josh. I'm an a-hole. I
Good. No, you're
apologize.
fine. No, it's
No,
good concept, context about it, but it's definitely worth a read.
okay. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool.
Oh.
I'm excited that I've been pushing it down to read for better,
Yeah,
read my words.
it's worth the I
The
don't know,
delay.
dessert
Yeah, that's right. It
and that.
is. That's great. It sold out. It did really well. I know the first issue sold
Yeah.
out like instantly, so that's good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And not on digital, baby.
Oh, yeah, you're a cool guy. You can read anything and everything. You don't have to worry about storage space.
No, I don't, baby. I don't know why I'm going Dusty Rhodes all of a sudden, baby. But yeah. Uh
I'm an
yeah,
a-hole.
so I mean, again, that's the episode. It was, we hopefully everybody, who's listening liked it and decide to at least check out Supergirl
Yeah.
movie. At the very least, make your own opinion, do what you want. And hopefully we gave you some a little more info, the context going into it or even coming out of it, and then some stuff to keep that fun going. So if you if you liked everything that we talked about and you like the show, please make sure to subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, most of the places where you listen to podcasts,
iTunes, Amazon,
iTunes,
SoundCloud,
Amazon,
SoundCloud,
uh, uh, uh,
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. I was trying to do a funny one, like
Oh, okay,
what's
okay.
the AB radio? What's it?
I
But
don't know.
yeah, whatever. The trucker radio. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, AM radio. Oh, CB radio.
CB radio. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
That'd be
and totally
cool.
just landed that joke. Awesome. This is the type of stuff that you'll be subscribing to. And
Especially once we get a Patreon going.
yeah, then you have to pay for it. That's um, this and we're also on Instagram and Blue Sky. We got issues and we got issues cast. We got issues on Blue Sky. We got issues cast on Instagram, and I think the BComp right on Blue Sky and Speedo
Yeah,
Jedi on Instagram for you.
correctamundo.
And yeah, and if you also like the episode, please give us 5 stars and recommend to your friends. It helps the podcast. It helps us out. And we're always open for recommendations. Please, so give us
Yeah.
give us a shout out. Give us some let us know what you want us to talk about. We'll definitely try our best to do either a story about if you like a character that you want us to talk about. We'll try to find like a good story to talk about that character, or we like a specific story to talk about. We can tackle that too, as
Well,
long as
speaking of
it's
which,
not
what do
infinite crisis.
we have to, that's me. I'm not kidding. It's gonna have to be 2 episodes. There's no way we
Yeah,
can do it. Like especially how long our episodes go.
even us.
Speaking of
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Speaking of next episode, what are we doing next episode, Josh?
we're finally going to be doing what we said last time, which is Catwoman Lonely City. That's for real. And that one is it's a fun self-contained story,
Black
Elseworld
Label,
type
yeah.
of story. um yeah,
Unless, of
it's
course,
well, no, I think that's our goal. Let's see, let's have that as our
the
goal
goal.
to get that
That's the
out
goal.
before
Before
Brand
the
New
next,
Day comes out.
I just
um
bought the $10 trade of that because they just released their version of that. Like I'm like
oh
I
yeah,
don't remember, which I'm sure has nothing to do with the movie at all. Like I love how Marvel
yeah.
will just like we're gonna do Born Again. It has nothing to do with Born
Right.
Again. It's just
I really
name
hope
only.
Brand New Day has nothing to do with Brand
I
New
know, but
Day.
it's just funny how they do that. You know what I mean? Like I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll see. I'm excited for it. I like me some Tommy H. So we'll see
Yeah,
how
no,
we
it's interesting to see now. It's a new creative team behind it too, so it's gonna be interesting.
oh, it's right. It's right. It's right. That's right. I forgot. All right. Well,
Yeah. Well, again, yeah, we're gonna be talking about Catwoman Lonely City for the next one, and then we have some other stuff and other guests like in the horizon as well. So
that's
please
right.
continue
Oh,
to check
that's
us out.
right. That's right. Yes. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I'm excited.
Brian's a little too excited, man.
Well, no, it's just like I like that book and I like our
Yeah.
guests. It's it's
Yeah.
a two. It's 2 for 2. I'm
It's a
excited to
twofer.
have them on. I don't want to tease it out yet, but you know who
No, not
you
yet.
are.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know who you are. You're listening.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's been a
Awesome.
minute since I got a chance to talk to them. I'm excited.
Yeah. Right on. Well, again, thank you everybody, and we will catch you on the next one.
Peace.